he didn't say this. This recording might not exist. All right, so welcome to the Boston Real Estate Investors Association. If you are new, you can drop new in the chat. If you've been with us before, if you are a paying member, even cooler, drop member in the chat. If this is not your first time, you can just say that you've been to a lot of free stuff and you're thinking about being a member. Just long sentence for you. Give yourselves a round of applause for everybody who's new tonight. It's great to have you here. And we are one of the coolest, not just the biggest, but one of the coolest real estate investor associations in the country. So welcome members and guests. This is your pathway to success. I am literally rolling out the red carpet for you. Hold on, I got to go back. Where's the back button on this? One sec. Liability disclosure. Everybody knows that I don't want to be sued for anything I say or do on camera. So let me very quickly read this to you. BostonREIA assumes no liability or responsibility for the outcome of any real estate transaction, decision, or other action that any BostonREIA member or visitor enter into as a result of attending any meeting, listening to any guest speaker, or talking to any BostonREIA member, guest, visitor, or persons. Hence, can't recognize you're an adult. You're responsible for your own actions. Yes? We also recognize that real estate investing can be risky. People have lost lots of money in the past. In fact, everybody you're buying a house from is losing money on the property in a lot of cases. Hence, Cam, if you agree, we operate with motivated, distressed sellers. Yes? Anybody want prices at a discount? Awesome. So we are used to working with people who are in challenges. We don't ever want to be one of them. It's a risky business. We are the #1 real estate investor association in Boston, and we are the only real estate association that is actually associated with the national REIA. If you're part of Bigger Pockets and you've heard them say, go meet somebody at the local national real estate investor associations, that's us. Everybody else are wannabes, they're fakes, they're phonies, and they don't have the backing of the national REIA. Hence, Karen, if it's important to know who you're hanging with. This is the real deal right here. Awesome. We're #1 in deal flow, networking, education, and real estate investor resources. And when I was talking about those phony groups, just so you know, I did used to run a bunch of those phony groups myself. So here I am working with the best. Now, we are the largest trade association of real estate investors in the United States, which means we get leverage. Our members get access to sweet deals from the Home Depot, from Real Protect, Rent Perfect, Office Depot, and one of my favorites, Equity Trust, which is how you get to untap your equity from your 401ks. Hence, Cameron, if you got a 401k from an old job at some point, or an old 401k or IRA sitting out there doing nothing, well, Equity Trust allows you to pull that equity out and start using it for real estate investing. By the way, Home Depot, anybody ever been there before? My homeowner's at, my landlord's at. Shoot, even tenants end up going to Home Depot. I call it the Home Depot for a reason. It's where all of the different departments are. They are one of our biggest sponsors. They give us so many discounts. In fact, so many. I'm going to ask Sarah later on. Sarah, is it okay if you go into some of the details on how the Home Depot can save our members a ton of money, like tens of thousands of dollars? Awesome.
Absolutely, my favorite part.
By the way, Sarah, you look amazing tonight. Thank you so much for dolling up for us. I know that this is not easy being in COVID. We're all home. But seeing the beautiful women on here who've like taken care of themselves, let's just give our women a big round of applause. Hardworking women in real estate. You know what we need women for? All of our negotiations. They know how to do this. They know how to hustle. They know how to swing the deal. So if you have a woman who's like, I don't know if I should get into real estate, beg them to get into real estate for you. Women are crushing it in this business right now. In fact, Arena's on the camera. She is a multi-millionaire through real estate. Well, not multi-millionaire yet. She's a millionaire today, but she's doing a transaction that's going to bring her $2.5 million worth of real estate with only $160,000 out of her pocket, which, by the way, she got from another transaction she did 3 years ago. She's just 1031ing that money over. Let's give Dorena a big round of applause. She's a very impressive woman. Absolutely. We got some cool members of the BostonREIA. There's millionaires all over the place here. Again, turn your cameras on if you want to hang and be seen. Here are some of our sponsors. Duncan, do we have any of our sponsors in? This is our capital partners. This is some of our lenders, our attorneys, people that work with us. I know Sarah's also a sponsor on the real estate agency side. Any partners want to speak?
I don't see any, Walter, but they are on our website under resources for money. So, there's a ton of money for all types of different deals out there. So they just have to visit our website, even though they're not on the call tonight with us.
Awesome. By the way, hands to the camera if you ever said money's kind of an issue. You want some capital to do your deals? We got the capital.
Yeah, I want to add that I also provide money. I have a bank.
Thank you, Lewis. You know, private money, as in like you take second position or your first position only.
No, first
You should consider becoming one
and
of our
second
sponsors.
and third and all the money you want.
Also, let's give Lewis a big round of
I
applause.
wanna get
Appreciate you,
rid of
brother.
it.
So the BostonREIA has something called a newsletter. And if you've ever been on a newsletter, you've probably been given a whole bunch of garbage email. Who's gotten those garbage emails before? Some really bad emails from really bad newsletters. It's like, oh my God, what is this? I thought it was going to be valuable. That's not us. What we're going to give you is access to deals. We're going to give you access to real estate information in the Boston market that's really relevant. So sign up for it to go sign up for it. You go to BostonRealEstateInvestorsAssociation.com. It is on the screen, but I'm going to change the screen in just a second. So type it into your chat right now, BostonRealEstateInvestorsAssociation.com. And then actually, Darina, can you type that into the chat? The Russian princess is crushing it. I know she is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So click the link
got it.
as soon as it comes up into the chat, and then join us in the newsletter. That's going to be a great resource for you. We do that to keep everybody together. You may notice on the screen, there's a beautiful man who's got bald hair. He's got like a really cool, energetic kind of point going on. That guy runs an event called the 100 Millionaire Summit. It is coming up. Not that I'm counting. It's 15 days away. It's got some of the top real estate investors in the country flying in. If you've ever heard of Sam Faster Freedom, hands cam if you know who he is. He's got 2 million followers on Facebook. So Sam Prim will be one of our speakers. He's going to be teaching you how to buy real estate with no money. That's no capital. Well, somebody's capital, but not your capital. How to negotiate deals so you can buy real estate with no money down, which, by the way, is how Darina purchased all of her properties. Very little, almost no money out of pocket, myself included. So the 100 Millionaire Summit is 3 days, and a lot of you are going to be like blown away by just what we do at that room. Who here's ever hung with over 100 millionaires for? Anybody on the room? Anybody ever hung? I know Duncan. Yes. Okay. Who here would love an opportunity to hang with 100 millionaires? Knows that there's a lot of money in that room. You'd learn a thing or two. Maybe you'd get access to a deal or two. Here's why it's really important, especially if you're new to the game. Millionaires don't want to do any work anymore. They did all the work when they were young. Like myself, I did all the work when I was 22, 24, 26. I retired at 32. And now they're looking to partner with other people who would love to do the work for a millionaire. Partner with them, maybe 50-50, maybe make you do like all the work. And they're like, they just teach you. Who would like to get paid to be mentored by a millionaire? That would be valuable. Be in the room. They'd be foolish not to. And we're going to show you how to develop wealth. I've got Vinny Chopra, who's into multifamilies. Anybody into the multifamily markets? So Vinny Chopra does multifamily syndications. He's going to be at the event. He's actually opening our event, and he owns over $700 million worth of real estate. He's 50% on all of that. Hands to the camera if you recognize that guy's close to being a billionaire. He's on his way. Absolutely. In fact, I call him a billionaire all the time. Just, manifesting for him because, he's a good friend of mine. So the 100 Millionaire Summit, it's coming up. It's October 21st to the 23rd. It is in Florida. I was talking to one of my coaches tonight. He said, you recognize that every movie you've ever watched, the hero has to leave their hometown. Think about it. Every hero that you have ever, in every movie that you have ever watched, the hero leaves their hometown. And the reason is you can't become the hero that you belong being. You can't become the champion if you're around all the people who keep forcing you to stay small. All the people you grew up with who remember you as a little child, all the people who you grew up with who remember you as just the person who works that 9 to 5, who doesn't do this flipping business or this real estate investment business or this wholesaling business or this real estate agency business. Hands to the camera if you've experienced that already with your family, your friends. They're like, oh, yeah, what are you doing here? Is that's something new? So this opportunity gets you out of your home, and it also brings you down to Florida at a beautiful time of the year. So if you're interested, I believe it's on the events tab. Yeah, it's right here on the events tab at BostonRealEstateInvestorsAssociation.com. And tonight, anybody who's interested, send a message to Darina. She's going to give you tickets at a ridiculous discount. I don't like to say the word discount, but she's going to give you an amazing deal. Just, you got to send her a message and she'll take good care of you. And this is only for BostonREIA members. If you're not a BostonREIA member, then you're going to want to sign up to be a BostonREIA member so you get access to that that amazing deal. Hands to camera if you recognize deals code of members. That's why membership is so valuable. Absolutely. Our all-star membership, speak of the devil, is free entrance to our monthly events, free entrance to our subgroup meetings, the 2% Home Depot rebate program, exclusive membership benefits, discounted workshops like our 3-day event in Orlando, Florida this year, and much, much more. Join today. Learn the sport. Be a player. I mentioned it's a contact sport. Get access to the players. Get to the places where we're all hanging out and being around us. Join tonight. And I asked Sarah if she'd be able to do the Home Depot. Sarah, you down? Let's give Sarah Ibram a big round of applause. Who likes free things? Who likes deals? Well, you got to
Hey,
partner
Walter,
with players to get access to deals. Go ahead, Duncan.
Can you make that Russian princess a co-host so she can drop the link for the event into the chat, please?
Done and done.
I gave you all power right now. I have nothing.
And I re-grant you co-host abilities, Duncan.
Thank you, sir. All right. Make sure you give her to Rena.
She is back in the game. Sarah, you want the power? You want to be able to share your screen?
Yes, I'm ready.
Awesome. Let's give the beautiful, amazing, smart, intelligent Sarah Ibram a big round of applause. She's also our sponsored realtor. So if you're looking for an agent in the market, which if you're buying something, you should be looking for an agent, because agents are free, they're intelligent, they're smart, and this one happens to be a real estate investor. In fact, she's one of our sponsors here at the BostonREIA, and she's not just smart in talking about the Home Depot stuff. She's actually very, very intelligent when it comes to evaluating deals, negotiating for you, and she knows how to do creative financing. Hands to the camera if you want to creatively finance your properties. You don't want to come up with all the money. Awesome. So Sarah, take it away.
And on top of that, thank you, Walter. And on top of that, we also, I share with you all the updates that's happening in the market that will benefit you, as you know, even if you're a regular buyer or if you are an investor buyer. You know, quickly on the market before we jump into Home Depot, what's happening right now is that the government, even though they have been trying to increase the interest rates, and that's really have slowed the market down. On the other hand, they have been, middle of last month, they have done released like a new program. They call it Mass Dreams. This is not a scam or not real thing. This is a real thing here in Massachusetts. For first-time home buyers, they give $50,000 or 35 up to like, and then just a few days ago, they started another thing, which will give buyers another $50,000, which will be combined about $100,000, you know, for a buyer. And what does that mean for an investor is that, you know, if you're having a project, I would absolutely get it on the market, because basically these funds, once they run out, they run out. So they are still new. They are still, you know, people are still reaching out to us to just like get an information, an idea about how to get it and all that. But once the funds is gone, is gone. So, you know, benefit from that. Will that create a bidding war and all that craziness that was happening just in the past during COVID? I kind of doubt, but it's going to be like a smaller wave of it. Yes, people will have a extra buying power, so they would be willing to go a little bit higher. So that's a quick update on what's happening, and I'll jump in on the Home Depot. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we do.
Yes. Okay, good. Let me just try and, okay, fantastic. So BostonREIA members, Duncan and Kelly, they have negotiated deals exclusively only for our members. So you can absolutely go to Home Depot and say, I would like to become a member and get your discounts and rebates and stuff, and you will get some. But if you want to get the best and the highest, you need to be a member in our BostonREIA. So basically, when you are a member of us, what you would get. So like Walter was mentioning, you get 2% rebate. So anything and everything you buy with Home Depot, you get a 2% rebate. It's biannually. So how it works, they have a fixed period. So they start in January 1st until June 30th. And then the second cycle starts in July 1st until December 31st. And they mail you a Home Depot gift cards with all these rebates, as long as it's under $1,000. Once it's over $1,000, they mail you a check. There is no limit on how much rebate you can get, but there is a minimum spend per each period, which is only $5,000. The minimum to get your rebates is to spend $5,000. Our members, they get 20% of their paint immediately. Normally, if you're just a pro extra member, you'll need to spend $6,500 on paint to get to that tier. With us, you don't have to do that. You are a gold tier member immediately. And that has nothing to do also with the rebate minimum. So you don't have to, like, let's say if you have a project, but you have only paint on this project. You say, oh no, I'm not gonna get the 20% because I didn't spend the $5,000. Has nothing to do with the rebate minimum. The 20%, you get that at the checkout. Basically, all you have to do is that at the register, you just enter your phone number. Just think of it as like a CVS rewards or Schwaz or anything, like any rewards program. At the checkout, at the pin pad, you just enter your phone number. And basically, if you have a registered card, so even though this is a rewards program, Home Depot would require you to register a payment method, a preferred payment method. And then all these discounts is going to get accumulated into this card or account or whatever. They have several options. So if you pay with that payment method at the end, you get the 2%. So you get the 20% at the checkout and then the 2% at the end of the 6 months. And the great part about this is that you can track your purchases for up to 24 months. And you can, these discounts are also applicable for paints and stains and primer of a gallon or more. It doesn't apply to spray or quartz or any of that. Also, our members get up to 20% of select Hampton Bay kitchen and bath cabinets if they purchase 10 or more cabinets in a single transaction. And how it works is that they get 10% from National REIA and 10% from Home Depot. And the best part is that they can, use it stackable with other store discounts. So 20% is the minimum that they can get. They can eventually get more than that. Volume pricing program or bedroom. This is another great program that you can get more discounts from. So basically, if you have a list of items that is gonna cost like $1,500 in a single transaction, bring this to the pro desk, have them prepare a code for you. And once that's done, have them send it to the bedroom, and then it's gonna come back with all the applied discounts, anywhere from 0 to 15%. And then, of course, if you pay with that registered card or registered payment method, you get the 2% rebate on top of that. The only thing that I wouldn't send through the bedroom is the paint, because you get 20%. The bedroom has a maximum of 15%. So you wouldn't really benefit from that. Duncan was able to get us some numbers to prove what Home Depot are really doing to our members. So in the last 6 months, Home Depot paid out to chapter members more than $500,000, and average rebate per member was nearly $1,600. This is alone is in one single period, in one single 6 months, you can eventually get a membership fees covered for like 4 years or 5 years, to come, in one. So that's only one of the benefits that Duncan and Kelly have secured for our members. Now, if you would like to become a member, Louis, I would absolutely advise you to take a picture of this. If you'd like to become a member, or if you want to verify if if your membership expires still valid, call Kelly or text her. She's very, very fantastic in getting back to people and help them with that. Once this is done, as I was just explaining to Louis earlier, the information has to exactly match. So we need to start with the BostonREIA, and then after that, I can take over using the same information that you signed up with us. I hope that makes sense. Thank you, everyone.
Let's give Sarah Ebro a big round of applause. The BostonREIA has hooked it up with Home Depot. So if you're not a member already, be a member. It makes a ton of sense. And if you're not sold, by the way, who knows? I'm in love with the membership. I make a lot of money. Or a penny earned, a penny saved is a penny earned. Who's heard this before? Yeah, I make a lot of money by saving a lot of money thanks to the membership at the BostonREIA. It works everywhere in the country. Also, I live in Florida. I'm still a member of the BostonREIA because the Home Depot still takes care of me because I've got this membership. Hence, Karen, if you know that's important, right? It's Home Depot's carrying their word. They're really good people. And thankfully, we've got a really good relationship with them. These are just a few other people we've negotiated with on your behalf. And by the way, it's not all us. This is the national REIA, the national level, who fights for us at Washington, making sure that our rights as real estate investors are like taken care of. Remember the 1031 exchange? Well, the national REIA went hard fighting against the government to make sure that the 1031 exchange stayed in place for real estate investors. It's a very important entity. We're very like, not me personally, but the leaders of the national REIA are out there very, very diligently working for you guys on your behalf. So if you're not already a member, this money goes to that greater good of serving, and we also hooked you up with a lot of great deals. So the association fees, they're small, they're tiny, but what they do, because there's so many members, is it has a great impact on real estate investing in general. New to real estate investing, let us help you get started making money on your first deal. Join the BostonREIA tonight. And for tonight, one time only. No, it's this price all the time. It is $280 per year. I know, whopping huge dollar amount, monstrous. But your money goes a long way, and we make sure that we really stretch it through our relationships with other vendors that you're going to be using. And tonight, this one is one time only, since my event is 2 weeks away. Everybody who signs up for the membership tonight does get a ticket to the 100 Millionaire Summit for free. Hands to the camera if you know that's absolutely ridiculous. Those tickets are $250 on the general side. So we're going to take care of you guys. For you who's signing up tonight, welcome to the community. Welcome to the group. Shoot a text to Kelly. That is 864-906-4111. Again, that number is, I feel like a salesperson leaving a voicemail. That number is 864-906-4111. Reach out to Kelly. Just shoot her a text and tell her that, because she's not going to know this. Oh, no, Kelly is on the call. Kelly, I am throwing in a ticket to the 100 Millionaire Summit for everybody who signs up tonight. So we're good. Just organize that with Darina and we'll take care of you guys. Excellent. So this is a point where I mentioned earlier, it's about having your cameras on. It's about being seen. It's about networking. So this is our networking opportunity. This is where you get to, even though we're not in person tonight, this is where you get to share with others what you're looking for. It's called our haves, needs, and wants. So drop in the chat. What is it you're looking for? I'm looking for deal. So this is how it works. Be very specific. I'm looking for multifamily properties that are 3+ units in the Fall River market. I don't buy studios. I don't buy 1-bedrooms. So they must be 2+ bedrooms, multifamily units in the Fall River, Massachusetts market. Hence the camera if that's super clear. You know where I invest. Awesome. Excellent. Drop in the chat. What do you want? Are you looking for capital? Are you looking for property? Are you looking for wholesalers? Are you looking for a realtor? Are you looking for a lender? Drop in the chat what you are looking for. And also, while you're doing that, put in your contact information so somebody can reach out to you if they can solve one of your problems. This is a very good opportunity for you to scale yourself out. If you don't have any skills whatsoever and you're looking for a mentor, just put your contact information and type in looking for a mentor. Hands cam if we understand, super simple instructions. Now, as you guys are doing this, as each one of you is putting this information in, the reason behind this is the power of manifestation. Now, I don't want to sound crazy or like, I watched The Secret too many times, but the law of attraction truly does work this way. In fact, my good friend, Mark Victor Hansen, wrote the book Ask, which I don't know if, I have it. There you go. Mark Victor Hansen, one of the greatest authors of all time. He wrote the book Chicken Soup for the Soul. He also, I had him on my podcast when he released this book, Ask, him and his wife. And the concept behind the book was, well, how do you manifest things? I just ask people who have what I want for what I'm looking for. If you're looking for a deal, just put it in the BostonREIA and we may go and hunt for it. Or somebody on this call who's a wholesaler or a realtor may have access to a deal. So the only way to manifest in this world is not to think and grow rich, although I love Napoleon Hill. But one of his action steps was to ask. Hands cam if you've read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Anybody on the call? All right, we got Jill, Darina, Kelly. If you haven't read it, that is one of the staples. I know Deborah's read it. That's one of the staples for real estate investors. One of the staples for entrepreneurs who are building wealth. Strongly suggest that book. And since Mark's a buddy of mine, strongly suggest reading the book Ask. So ask for your haves, wants, and needs that you're able to share with somebody. This is a great networking opportunity. I see in the chat, we got some really smart people. So Kelly Duff looking for a mentor. Darina, if you can, Kelly, oh, you don't have to put your contact information. Darina will just send you a message and you guys can connect. Mitchell Moose looking for a mentor also. So Mitchell, reach out to Darina. She'll take care of you. Sarah says, congratulations. Looking forward to helping you on your Home Depot benefits. Awesome. Mitchell Moose, phone number. We got you, brother. Steve, looking for a lender. I have 2 townhouse condos in Cambridge, need to refinance them. Steve's left his number in the chat. So if you're a lender and you're looking to get involved with a refinance, this is a good opportunity. Shaquille, help with my first deal from start to finish. Mentorship desperately needed. All right, Shaquille, don't you worry, girl. We got you. Send a message over to Darina and she'll connect with you. She'll make sure that you're all set. Cass, I'm looking for a mentor. An email address is there. Cass, just send a message to Darina. By the way, everybody who's looking for a mentor, we have the best mentor in the business. It's me. I'm a millionaire, multimillionaire. I'm going to walk you through the process of how to buy real estate so you can cash flow and get rich. Those are the 3 steps. Buy real estate, cash flow, get rich. Chance Cameron, you can follow 3 steps. Yes, as long as you're guided through the 3 steps. Don't worry. We'll make sure you can get your success in real estate. Looking for a lender. Tom Wemmet is looking for a lender. He's doing a cash out refinance on $125,000 value commercial property in Gardner, Mass. Man, I love Gardner, Tom. I got a friend out there. That's all he buys is that Gardner market. It's a barbershop tenant, and Tom has left his contact information in the chat. Awesome. Val Marie. Hi, I'm looking for investors to list with me. So Val Marie is a listing agent. Val, you might want to drop in what market you're a specialist in. We really emphasize specializing in a market when you're a realtor. Chet says, looking for off-market single multifamily in the North Shore area, also private lender. Are you looking for a private lender, Chet, or are you a private lender? And then when you say North Shore market, that's too big. I've already forgotten you. So drop in what a specific city you are looking for deals in. And Pauline says, Pauline from the Boston, Massachusetts licensed loan officer, mortgage broker. Pauline, there's a lot of people who are looking for a lender right now. Hands to the camera if you want Pauline to reach out to you, if that would be valuable. Excellent. So Pauline, if you don't mind, everybody who said they need a lender, I see you nodding your head. You're like, yeah, I got this. I got this. Awesome. Thank you. Elaine is interested in multifamily, single family, 3-bedroom, 2-bath for a great deal. So you have a great deal. Eileen, just drop in the chat if you have a property or if you're looking for a property. And then Shaquille needs capital purchase a house in Webster. Can be a refi. Excellent. Darren, my name is Darren Consuelo, looking for a multifamily in Lowell, Haverhill, Metal. And Darryl, you got too many markets, bro. Those are massive cities with like thousands of properties. So to dial it in, you may want to pick one of those. You're looking for something in the $650,000 range, and you're working with someone 25% down with great credit. I'm working with someone 25% down with great credit. So you're already financeable. So one of the realtors on the call, Sarah, do you mind reaching out to Darren and just making sure that he has opportunity with you? Awesome. Thank you. Need capital purchase a house in Webster. Can refi. We already read Shaquille. Don't worry, Shaquille. We got you. Looking for a mentor. Alton, reach out to Darina. I've probably said it a couple times. I know you probably already reached out. Let's give Alton a round of applause. One of the hardest things in life is to reach out to a mentor, but one of the most high leverage things, there's only 3 things you need to be successful. One is knowledge. The second is a network. And the third is accountability. And that's what a mentor will give you. They'll give you a little bit of knowledge, network, and accountability. Hence, Karen, if you want a person who gives you all 3, like we're doing right now, super valuable. Lender. And Kim says, good evening. Awesome, Kim. Was this valuable? Did we get a lot of value out of this? Connecting, just networking with people. There's so much money in this room. There's so many great relationships in this room. There's so many people that you can work with. So let's give the BostonREIA again a big round of applause for adding this slide in. Ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. Terry is the man He's the myth. He's a legend. He's been working on the board for many different companies, serving in the educational space for people to learn how to, wait for it, invest in commercial real estate. That's the big deals. So if you're looking to skip the little steps, or you've been investing for a little while and you're looking to finally get to where all the money is made, tonight's training is how you're going to learn how to invest in commercial real estate properties. Let's give Terry a big round of applause. Welcome to the game, brother. This is the BostonREIA. They're all yours.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. How are you guys? All right. All right. Super excited. Duncan, it's been a minute, right? We've known each other for quite some time as well. And really appreciate
Gosh, I think I met you, Terry, back in 2003, and you were doing real estate way before me. So yeah.
I know.
Been at this a long time. I can't believe how time has gone by. I just want to make sure, Terry, that you can get your presentation up on the screen. Okay, I know we can see your face in that, but I did give you co-host controls, so you should be able to get your screen up there too.
All right. So I do it a couple different ways, if I may.
Sure.
I'm probably going to ask you what I should do as far as getting the screen up, but I just wanted to get
it's however you like. I just want to make sure that you have access to everything you need.
Awesome. Okay, I'll throw a screen up in a sec just to give everybody
Good deal.
visual skin. Right. And then I got a whiteboard over here too. So if I could do a little training and make sure to give some solid content, because content's king. Awesome. Great to see you, Duncan. So yeah, my quick little backstory, if I may, just to share with you guys that, it's not one of these things that I'm just right out of the gate and teaching and training without having the cuts, bumps, and bruises to prove it. I've been at this a long time, 25 plus years. I started off, in my early 20s doing this, and it served me very, very well. I reside out here in beautiful Malibu, California. And I just got back from doing some business out in Miami, and I just missed that unfortunate hurricane that hit the coast. My wife's from Brooklyn, been with the same gal since 1999. We thought the world was going to blow up back then, so we went ahead and got together, and we've been together ever since. And I went into retirement in my 30s, and I came back out of retirement because I came home, and the wife was actually with her girlfriends. They were painting one of the rooms a very soft pink, and I said, "Oh, it's baby time." So now my son is 9 years old, and I just hit the big 50. So my birthday was just here in September, and I'm super happy. What an accomplishment! Somebody said, "Do you feel 50?" I said, "50 is the new 25," and it's such a great accomplishment to be on this world for 50 years, and just so blessed. But when I started out, I begged and pleaded with this individual who was very wealthy in the space of real estate, and I asked them to give me a hand. And there's nothing wrong with asking. And I want all of you guys to understand that there's absolutely nothing wrong with asking somebody for help. Just try your hardest to differentiate between people that have done it and are successful with systems and strategies versus listening to broke people, because there's really good salespeople out there. And so everybody's like giving me the exact. And so it's important. Unfortunately, this person was very successful, but they were successful in the rich person's game, right? The rich person's game. So I spent many years, 5 years of my life, learning the system of playing with a lot of money. And when it came time for me, after I had my financial legs, to get out into the big world and jump off the porch and run through the tall grass and make my mark, it was a very short window of opportunity. And my debt to income ratio got rocked. They said that I bought too rich. I bought retail. I was out there and I secured too much debt, and I was playing appreciation. It's kind of like buying a house and just putting a renter in there. And if you bought it too rich, you're making hundreds of dollars, right? Because you got all the expenses. That's exactly what happened. I was sitting in a position where all I could do was play time of appreciation. So I reverse engineered my thinking and thought process and understood that there is a better way. Hence everything that you guys are doing. So this is everything that most of you guys are doing. If you're in the space doing either the house buying business or playing around with looking for distressed property, I've honed my skill set on just understanding the story. And there's some great other trainers and speakers out there for sure, 100%. Like, I'm not the only guy, and you guys know this anyway. I know there's going to be some great people at the event, right? That you guys mentioned earlier, the 100 Millionaire event, which is awesome. And what I learned quickly was that if I could hone my skill set on knowing a few things right out of the gate, then I could sit there and separate the deals like from the duds, right? And then I could understand how I could eliminate banks and work with creative terms and strategies. When I started doing that, there was no sky, there was no limit. Like you could write your own check, you do as much business as you want. And I didn't want to get into the syndication game. There's nothing wrong with syndication if you're doing it utilizing professionals, but just me, and I know you had mentioned it earlier about showing your face and exposing yourself, right? So let's be very transparent about this, right? There's a level of exposure that certain people have comfort on, whether it's exposing yourself as being present here and networking, or being a coach, a speaker, a trainer, a guru, or a huge event planner and doing these huge events, or doing syndication and having mass exposure to people and playing with people's money. It's all where your comfort level is. Just do it smart, get educated in that field, and make sure that there's no room for error, because if you're playing with other people's money, it's the same thing as playing with your money, right? So we have to make sure that we cut our teeth on the right deals. We are extremely conservative. And so everything that I've put together over the course of from when I stopped doing it in the retail game, co-authored a book with a famous guru who showed me the ropes on how to put courses together, got out there back in the day when I had the manual, and I told everybody I wanted them to have an MBA, which stood for manuals, books, and audios, right? Back in the day. And I would just sell the heck out of this stuff, and people would grab it and gravitate towards the education, and it was all wonderful. Until I realized that for me, I got to that point where I said, okay, my son is born. My wife can spend all my money for sure, without a shadow of a doubt. I know that. She's a professional spender, right? She's like a ninja, like on Amazon, man. I get so many packages. I come out with just a YouTube or a podcast and just, what the heck did my wife buy today, right? And I could just open up Amazon packages all day. But back to real estate, and I will show my slides in a second. I want to show you guys the whiteboard to give you some solid content. But just my story and getting going, I got into retirement, and really it's kind of a weird thing to be a teacher and a coach and a speaker. You really have to have that mindset to get out there and speak for clarity and purpose and make sure that you got your chops down, right? When I said to myself, my son's born, now it's time for generational wealth, everything really changed, because it wasn't about me at that point. And I don't mean to sound cheesy like this, but it's different when it's not about you. It was about my responsibility. And somebody earlier, right, you said holding people accountable and having that credibility and that accountability to get out there and do it. I'm doing it for another purpose. And for whatever reason, that gave me some fire in the belly. And I just got out there and I really, really made things happen in a different light. So this is my one of my offices here in Malibu. I have offices here in Malibu. I have people that I employ in a room in Las Vegas that just do acquisitions. And I also have my team out in Utah as well. So I'm going to throw up some slides for you guys now and go through some content. And I'm going to ask for a little help here. Let me plug in my computer. Ask for a little help on how I go ahead and share my screen here. Let me see if I can figure this out. Anybody want to help here? Is there a spot that says show screen?
Yeah, Terry, there's just a green in the middle of your screen at the bottom. You say share.
Got it.
Okay.
Share. Got it. Cool. All right. And then let's see here.
Hey, you hit 50. You need those reading glasses now, Terry.
Oh, I got them, but they're hidden. I'm still not there. Can you guys see my screen okay?
No, we see you in the whiteboard, but not the screen yet.
Shucks.
Okay.
Still not yet, huh? Okay. Let me put this thing back up here. Sorry, guys, bear with me here. Duncan sees me squinting. He's absolutely right. I need to put on those glasses. Hang on one second. All right, share screen. All right. How about now?
You got it, brother.
All right, sweet. Let me go full screen. All right, cool. So you guys see it, yeah? All right. So I authored a book, and it's called The 2 Best Strategies to Profit with Commercial Real Estate. Can you guys still see me as well, or just my screen? Yeah, you see me too? Okay, cool. So I authored this book. It's just a super quick read, and anybody that obviously takes action, you're going to get a copy of this for sure, without a doubt. And it's a great read. But basically, where I'm at here, is the current market. And there's a lot of prediction, and my crystal ball's in the shop, as they say, right? But more businesses are going to go bankrupt, and they have been. It's not my negative prediction. It just is what it is. You know, small mom and pop, they are forced to close. Amazon is contributing to this because, like I said, my wife is always doing things online because it's so darn easy. You're on Prime. It's here the next day. It's kind of tough to beat. Shopping centers, malls are abandoned all around the nation, and millions have filed for unemployment, as we know. Besides just the COVID upset, this could be, as they say, the next Great Depression because of so much upset and inflation. I mean, right now, it's, you know, premium gas, we're at like $7.40 a gallon. I mean, it's crazy. But no doubt, this is when the right moves actually can build some serious wealth. And like I said, I'm in it for generational wealth. You know, I look at the books here too, like the whole stocks and commodities and trading. I got partners that are around, you know, different countries. I just talked to one of my client partners who's out in Sweden, and, you know, they're super affected by the news. And during summer break, I was out in France, and I also toured Ireland as well. And even the media, man, it's definitely different than what we hear here in the States. It's really pressing on these people, and a lot is going on. There's a lot of moving parts behind the scenes. What we're doing is we're focused on acquisitions. That's everything that I do. You have to be really good at one or two things, right, in business, and then you have to hone your skill set and focus on what you're really good at. And then the ticket and the key to success is hire the professionals and let them do what they do best and continue to focus on what you do best. And as said earlier, you have to have the knowledge and you got to take massive action. And coupled with that and honing what you're really good at, that's going to give you a lot of lift. That's going to really put you in the right place. So we're looking at properties, not distressed property in distressed areas. We're looking at problematic properties, and I'll justify all that in a sec, but we're looking at the best locations. We're looking at property that actually has affordable living. We're looking at different opportunities where we can take land and we can build stuff like this on it as well, which is just great. This is manufactured housing. My main two property types that I focus on are multifamily, but the number one is self-storage. The self-storage market in general, it's been shrinking, but we only buy properties in areas that have serious demand where they're not overly saturated. And then of course, the properties which are the recessionary proof, all right? So recessionary proof properties, people lose their homes. We know this, obviously here at this platform, there's a lot of folks out there that are doing the house buying business, right? So it's natural that when people, unfortunately, they lose their home, and sometimes it happens, right? They transition into affordable, which is the apartment sector. And then self-storage, they need a place to store it. Very basic, very straightforward. They need a place to put their things. And this is a really hot property type. Statistics show that over 90% of these storage facilities, they're actually owned by mom and pop. And there's statistics that are 50,000 self-storage facilities around the nation, not considered your corporate conglomerates like your public storage and your big space storage houses that are now third generation air climate controlled. So great opportunity to jump into that sector of commercial real estate investing and really understand it. It's like apartments without the people. Also senior living, assisted living as well. These are all key. And then of course, mobile home parks. So when people need affordable housing, and obviously the whole sector for multifamily, rents go up, right? When there's not a moratorium on eviction, the rents go up. You need a place to go. You're not going to go on the street. If you have some money, where you're going to end up in, of course, more affordable housing like the mobile home parks and also the manufactured house space. So those are all the recessionary type of properties that we want to focus on. But you definitely want to focus on highly motivated sellers who have to sell, not just want to sell for all cash, quick close, no contingency, over asking price. I mean, you want commercial real estate like that, just go on LoopNet, go on Crexi, go on Argus, go on CityFeet. You can go on any of these platforms and see that there's tons of retail property where they're just sitting and they're asking, utilizing this formula, which I'm going to share with you later, they're asking cap rate of like between 3 to 6 cap, which is totally retail. In my world, even 7 cap and even 7.5 and even 8 cap is property that's overpriced. It's not property that has enough lift, as I mentioned, to be able to really get in there. And the crazy thing about the business that I'm involved in with commercial real estate is you can find hidden sectors within the commercial real estate business that I feel are just not present in other types of real estate. And I'm not banging on house buying business or land or development or any of that. There's a lot of ways to make money in commercial real estate. All I'm stating the case on is that if you can go ahead and jump in and you can manipulate numbers in a positive way, and you can buy property at, say, a 10 cap on actual value, create the lift and trade it back at a 5 or a 6.5 cap, which is industry standard across the nation in the self-storage sector today. Trading back at a 6.5 cap when you bought it at a 10, you're going to make money. You're going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, if you deal with bigger property. And, you know, utilizing seller financing, doing things creatively on a non-recourse basis where you're not affecting your personal credit, it eliminates this heavy run of risk. We said earlier, there's risk in everything we do, and I'm not going to discount that. You know, I was in New York running across the street, man. You got Lyft, you got Uber, and you got the yellow cabs, man. Talk about risk crossing the street. There's definitely risk in real estate of all types. I guess that's my little mini disclaimer. You got to know this business. Commercial real estate, it's Latin, caveat emptor. And I understood this from day one. It's buyer beware. It's not a full disclosure. It's not like lead-based paint and this and that and black mold and this and that and structural damage. Like, you got to check the facts. And that's why it's a bigger business with the element of bigger risk. But if you go ahead and you move forward and you're doing non-recourse investing and you're protecting your deposits and you understand that you're buying the property right, and you eliminate those challenges that I just mentioned, and the property comes back with a clean bill of health, like, the risk is so very, very low and the reward is so very high that it does warrant getting into this business. All right. So let's all keep that in mind when I'm going through these exercises with you and chatting up with you. Can you do me a favor, Duncan? I'm not aware, how long actually do I have on this call, just so I can gauge training?
90 minutes. So 9 o'clock, a little bit after 9 o'clock.
Got it.
If you want to do questions.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
Get your 90 minutes.
Okay. Perfect. Gotcha. So, you know, these sellers that are out there, we're locating market deals, obviously, and off-market deals. There's plenty of deals that are on market, and we're already seeing somewhat of a soft swing. And when I say that, I don't want someone to think, okay, now is not a good time to get into it. You know, there's something to be said that when there is a distressed situation happening and interest rates go up and people are having challenges, obviously at that point in time, you got to jump. I mean, that's the time to really get into this business, you know, whether it's residential or commercial. In the coming months and next year, I'm a firm believer that there's going to be massive amounts of opportunity. So you guys are definitely in the right place at the right time. If you're new here, I definitely say grab on, hold on to some knowledge and grab it and do it. And if you're a veteran, then just do more whatever is working for you, right? And maybe you want to change your game a little bit, and that's fine too. The beautiful thing about commercial real estate is this misconception. And that keeps me even wealthier because I can continue to move without so much competition, because there's people talking a big game, but they're not doing many deals. And then there's other people that are, again, doing the syndication thing. And that syndication thing takes a lot of time, and time is money. You know, we're averaging projects that come to us. Obviously, I have a lot of different pokers in the fire, if you may. And this gives opportunity coming my way. But I also have a lot of clients that are out there that are creating relationships with brokers, creating relationships with these individual owners. And what's amazing is that these brokers, they are becoming the best bird dogs out there. If I have any brokers, I'm not calling you a bird dog, so don't get mad at me. I'm just saying that you guys are extremely knowledgeable and you're professional. And obviously, if we can show you a built-in payday, that's a beautiful thing for you to move it forward and say, okay, this person's real. They understand the business. I'm going to go ahead and put them at the top of the buyers list, and I'm going to be feeding this person opportunity. We just closed our 7th deal with one broker right in the Arkansas, Mississippi zone. What a beautiful thing that this broker has that much accomplishment just from one outfit like mine, a boutique commercial real estate firm. Every deal has seller financing and every deal is non-recourse because that broker understands our criteria. And when he goes out and does the door knocking and articulates our actual acquisition criteria, he already knows that if we can buy it for a certain price point and for certain terms, which are a cookie cutter deal, like 36 months, 5% interest only to keep our payment down, with 10% down or less, non-recourse, no personal guarantee. I mean, who wouldn't want a deal like that? And, you know, if the BS detector is going off and you're thinking to yourself, well, how and why? Like, why would the seller ever sell you those deals? And how do you find those in a market that is so saturated for commercial real estate and self-storage is talked about on such a high level? I mean, I just received this from Dave Knobler out in from Marcus and Millichap. He's one of the bigwigs out there in the Houston MSA. And he's talking about a 12 pack of property, and he traded each one of these on his cap index. The highest one that he traded was a distressed property, which was at a 9 cap, but everything else are in 3s and 5s for the most part, which is pretty amazing for him to be able to go and move this type of product. But he's somebody that I would take a deal to sell, not someone that I would go to try to buy a deal. Yes, I've done business with Dave, and I know Dave, and he's a great guy, but you know, there's someone for everything, right? So as I said earlier, hone your skill set on what you do best. This guy sells property retail best. So if you're out there and you're talking with these brokers and you see that everything that they have is trading at very low cap rates, you might want to reconsider creating that relationship with that individual, because that's an instant failure point. Unless they have something that's distressed and you create a relationship with this person and they bring you that opportunity because they know that you're a reposition specialist and you deal with these types of properties that are actually the low-hanging fruit for us, but problematic for the actual investor, for the average investor. Okay. All right. Perfect. Well, I hope you guys are enjoying this information thus far. Why people would actually sell these properties, there's a number of reasons. The big one is a tax reason. And, you know, this is a whole industry within the industry. It's a whole business within the business, because people just hone in on just people that are behind on taxes. And I have clients that buy property all the time out there just because they're focusing on this one niche. Lack of income is something that we all use when I teach this strategy and technique out there to my clients, because the lack of income is the way that we approach these projects. We're not buying these projects that are sitting at 100% occupancy or at 90% or better. We're buying property that has massive lift, that's sitting there at, say, 30% economic occupancy or 50 or 60 or 70%. Because what we can do is buy on that as is value, and I'm going to reiterate this, buy on that as is value, lock it up under terms, favorable terms. And how can we get favorable terms? Well, if it lacks income, it doesn't support bank financing. So all these banks that are out there, all these private money individuals, all these folks that are out there, they're looking at the deal and they're like, that thing's suffering major. Like, they're not going to want to be involved in it unless they are repositioned investors, where, like the investors that you guys work with, where they see opportunity and they say, wow, you're buying it for this, you're going to do this to it, and it's worth this. And you look at the ARV, the after repaired value, right? Which we all know. Those types of people are the only exception. The average, conventional lender, they're going to look at something that has lack of income. And if you want to buy it, they're going to want you to offset all that deficiency. They're going to want you to come in with 50% down. And it's just not realistic. There's rehab needed on these properties. And because of that, these people are falling short. They just don't have the capital to do a rehab. I just talking about Mississippi, we closed a deal here in last quarter. It was over 130 units. It's in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and we got it for $260,000. We put down $60,000. The seller carried a note for us for 36 months at 5.25% interest. And it was interest only to keep our payment low, and it's non-recourse, so there was no credit check. This individual actually owned 16 different facilities and ran it as a business. He ran a full business of self-storage. And the reason why he offed this particular property to us, we bought 2 from him. The reason why he offed this one to us is because it needed repairs. When we got our repair bill, it might shock some of you, but for us, we understood what we were buying because we could manipulate the numbers. The property was already sitting at 60% economic occupancy, but it had challenges. We ended up using a company called Watkins Roofing out of Mississippi. Great company. I highly recommend them. I got their number because I called down to the local chamber of commerce and I asked for recommendations, and they ended up giving us 3 recommendations. I did that with my acquisition team manager, Matt Vincent, who's here in office with me in Malibu. And we sat and we looked at it and we said, okay, give us 3 things, which 3 things are something that we always need, regardless of what industry you're in, if it's going to involve rehab. We needed a scope of work, we needed a timeline, and we needed a cost sheet. Very basic. What are you going to do? How long is it going to take? How much is it going to cost us? They came back with a bid, I believe it was north of 110. I think it was 116,000. I went back to them and I said, look, I'd love to do business with you. You guys come with great referrals, but I have a budget of $90,000. Instantly on the phone, he said, I'll do it for 91,000. And I said, everything on the scope of work, 91,000. I said, revise, send it over. I'll sign it. We'll get going. So that said, everything is up for negotiation as long as you can get out of your comfort zone, have some confidence, understand you know this business and understand exactly what you want and understand those needs and those desires. And at that point, you know, shaving that little bit of money, that's money in our pocket, which is great. That $91,000 roof repair came with roughly another $30,000 in cosmetic paint. We ended up painting it. We did the exterior and did all the doors on it. We ended up doing filling some potholes that were in the ground, some mild stuff just like that. And we ended up getting it to the point where it needed to be. And as it sits right now, we're offering that project. And Duncan, I know you guys got buyers, and I gladly take care of you if somebody wants this deal. All of our deals come with assumable notes, so we can have an assumable, transferable, non-recourse seller finance note. You just need to cover the spread. And on that particular project, we're going back to market at $910,000, and the ARV on it is well over $1 million. And that's a turnkey deal for somebody that would only want it first done. But remember, we bought it for $260,000 with $60,000 down. So our monthly on it is very, very low, and the deal is cash flowing very, very well. These are the types of opportunities that you can get in on. Understand that self-storage, I'm never going to go to the property. I never have. We sent Watkins Roofing out there. Before then, the broker actually took all of the detailed notes, meaning he went through every door that he possibly could open. We looked at all the slide locks on the doors. He looked at the grounds. There was a past appraisal and also a past phase 1 that came with it as well. And it all had a clean bill of health. There was no reason for me to travel there to that property at that point in time. I always put a set of eyes on it. And at that point, it was the broker that actually did that for us. A lot of times we'll send one of our team members out to go ahead and walk the property prior to closing, which is a very smart thing to do. This one, I felt comfortable because I understood the ins and the outs of it. And I got a professional opinion from the roofer, and that deal, it's going to make money. It's going to make quite a bit of money. And those are the types of deals that you can roll with and say, okay, this is something where the average person does not come and check on their things. Statistics show in the self-storage sector that the average person that comes in and puts their stuff in, the only time that they come is when they're actually leaving. And the average individual stays 12 months, and the actual businesses, they stay 24 months. So this is a built-in cash cow type of business that is very, very appealing to a lot of investors, right? A lot of investors. And with that, obviously you guys know all about this one. These are the behind on payments, the notice of default, the NOD, the Liz pendants, lawsuit pending. And when these types of situations happen, and this is one of those that obviously comes through conversation, because you can go and pull a list, obviously, and you can farm that list. That is a business within the business, and many of you have that dialed in. But for us, the way we go ahead and farm this is we have it through discussion. And we just speak for purpose, and we just say, hey, look, are payments current? Every once in a while, the payments are not current. We can get a better deal because we're actually moving a lot faster. And with that seller finance note, we can close very, very quick, as long as we understand the risk associated and understand the ins and the outs of the deal. But we pick up properties quite often with back payments. All right. So if you're taking notes, now's a great time, if you haven't already, take some notes on the acquisition criteria itself. Then I'm going to share some stuff with you behind the board. And if you guys can see me okay, and I can write on the board and still keep the screen up, I don't know if that is possible, if you guys can see both me and the screen. Maybe
Yeah, you're good, Terry.
yeah, okay. Cool. I'll note that so I can start being a teacher as well and start showing you some stuff. Unrealistic sellers. These are properties we pass on. As I said earlier, all cash, quick close, no contingencies, and overpaying. That's not what we're doing. We are not paying all cash without any discounts. It's just not what we're doing. The only time we will do that, I have a slide to share with you on when we do go in and pay all cash and we do close the deal and we close quick. It does happen, but there has to be an exception for that. That's the cliffhanger for about another 10 slides. I'm going to share that with you, the only exception. But when they want us to pay for potential, that's never going to happen. And what does that mean? Some of you have heard the phrase pro forma, future value, right? That's hope speculation. That's not what we're doing. We're not buying the property based on the fact that if we're going to do all this work, it's going to be worth more. You see, commercial real estate, especially the multifam and the mobile home parks and the self-storage sector for those three property types, if we get in there and we start doing improvements and raising rents, we are going to raise the rent a lot different than one would think. So I'll give you an example. If you took, I'll just mention self-storage because you can do a nuisance rent increase, which isn't a lot. But if you had a couple hundred units, right? So I closed a 238 unit first quarter of this year. And that 238 unit, if we just did a nuisance rent increase of say $6 on each unit, if you were to take that and look at what that would look like, and you would say, okay, $6 times 238, and then you annualize that over a full year, and then you look at that number, whatever that number happens to be. Let's just say it's 10,000, right? I'm just throwing it out there, whatever. If it's 10,000, right? And we look at it and we say, okay, if that was on a 10 cap trade, that 10 grand would equate to $100,000 value increase. And you just can't do that with any other industry saying, okay, we're going to do this little bit without additional added expense. We're just going to add more income. And then we're going to look at that. And we wouldn't even actually base that on a 10 cap. We'd actually base that on market cap anyway. So if the market cap was at a 7 cap, then obviously it's going to be even more than $100,000, right? It's going to be even more. So what a beautiful thing to look at something and say, wow, look, we just created another, $130,000, $150,000 in value just off of this little nuisance rent increase. And the average person won't take a Sunday to go and rent a U-Haul to show up because you raised their rent $5.98 because you enhanced the lighting and did better security cameras or fixed the automatic payment system or created a 24-hour access or something so simple. If you're going to do improvements to the property after ownership, it warrants you to list those improvements and then raise the rent just a little bit. And that doesn't hurt anybody. It's not like we're getting out there and doing, just light improvements to rent and having everybody on a month to month and then going to them and saying, we want a 1-year lease, plus we're going to jack your rent an extra $500 a month because it needs to be at market rent. That's a whole different animal. All right. So the business of commercial real estate, it is a business. There's two sides of a piece of paper, right? So there's a liability and then there's an asset. When you have a liability, that means that the property's suffering. There's something going on with it. There's a situation, right? It's not at its highest and best use. It's lacking in occupancy. The rents haven't been raised. And maybe even, again, that there's some type of CapEx, capital expenditure on the property, like roofs or what have you, or just some simple deferred maintenance, okay? When you have an asset, that's something that's operating at its highest and best use. It's a shiny penny. It looks like a great opportunity for somebody and it's being sold at a very low cap rate and a very high dollar amount. And somebody that buys that would be more suited for like a REIT, a real estate investment trust, because REITs need to move money all the time. And if you understand REITs do pay top dollar for property because they play the game. And what game do they play? The game they play is your return. You guys see these syndication pitch decks, I'm sure. And if you haven't, just anybody that's doing a syndication, ask to see the deck. Look at it. Look at what those actual returns are. I mean, truly look at them. They're not making huge returns on their money. These people are doing 5-year stays and putting in hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not $1 million or more, and their returns can be very low. Where if you got to believe in that asset, of course, but it's still a great way to diversify and put money somewhere if you believe in the project. So there's nothing wrong with that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm getting to is that the type of opportunities that are present here with ownership of a business and looking at property, we're not playing appreciation, depreciation, cash flow. We're playing just something a little bit different. We're playing the lift game. We're playing buy it down here, do a little bit to it, manipulate the numbers, and it's worth way more. I have a property out in Arizona. I'm doing a few things to it. It's over here. This property is really cool. It's out in Pinal County. This is one of the receiver paperwork that I just got. I got to sign this thing here to be able to get some dirt approved, which is great. And with this particular project, it's right here. So we purchased this box right here. If you can see me on the screen, this is 12 big bays. And we have 5 acres, and we're developing the 5 acres into commercial property. And this tech company over here just put $3.2 million into this dirt. And this property, the reason why it's so great is because we bought it. It's a little bit bigger of a deal than I'd mentioned, like the Hattiesburg, $260,000. This property was a $2.2 million purchase. We purchased it with creative financing. I manipulated the numbers, and I got in on the deal with $440,000 down on a $2.2 million purchase. We did 5.25%, as you can see the cookie cutter, right? It's kind of very similar, 5.25%, but this time the seller wanted to do amortization. So we did a 25-year AM. That means it's amortized over 25 years. The $1,760,000 note, if you were to go to a amortization calculator and you were to punch in those numbers, you would see exactly what that payment looks like. And it's right around $11,000 and change. The property cash flows a little over $5,000 a month. And what we decided to do, we've had that property since November. And I decided to list that property with Cushman & Wakefield. So I just went and listed that property. And I went in and I mentioned to the tenants that I needed to reconstruct the tenant leases. And those tenant leases, when they reconstructed them, and redid those leases, I also got rid of the manager, and I put it on a different third-party management. So who receives the checks in that regards to my PO box here in Malibu? I was receiving them for a minute, right? So I've been receiving these checks, and obviously I deal with a bank, and I'll drop it to you. It's a great bank. It's NKBC, and I don't get any kind of referral from it or anything like that. I'm just mentioning that I like them. It's a really good real estate investment online bank. And I got the lead from Anderson Business Advisors. They gave me the lead. And the gentleman that I deal with over there, what's so great is that, like, let's say I'm doing business here and one of you guys are doing business out there in Boston. It's kind of difficult when we set up a limited partnership arrangement, because now you got to go in the bank at the same time I got to go in the bank, and then we got to sign signature cards, and it's kind of a pain. Where what was great was they understand investment banking, and so I'm able to just go on the app and clock in, and right away when I clock in on the app on the NKBC app, at that point, it's right here. At that point, what I can do is I can just drop in and take a picture of the front, take a picture of the back, push a button, and I'm done. So for me, it's really a non-issue. I just wanted to share that with you just as a value add, and do your own due diligence and everything on them. But I use them and I think they're great. But this is all about, push button business, right? That's what we want. And I won't be receiving any more checks because I'm selling that project. We have interest in a $3.9 million acquisition. So that's a pretty good spread. I've been to Scottsdale 2 times over this last year of ownership of that project, and it's outside of Phoenix, and I never drove to the project. It's 45 minutes and change outside of Phoenix, and I'm in Scottsdale. I was there on business. 2 times I've been to the state, and I never went to the property. There's no reason for me to go to the property. I'm not doing anything there. What value am I going to bring? It's not my specialty. What am I going to show up and kick the dirt and look at the box? I'm not an appraiser. I'm not a property manager. I'm not a due diligence specialist. I don't know anything about phase one other than a phase one environmental and a phase two if it doesn't come back clean, right? And a scope of work, a timeline, and a cost sheet, and then remediation issues. And then looking at the scope of work, timeline, and cost sheet of the remediation, and understand that I got to pay for that to get the clean bill, right? This is an amazing business to focus on acquisitions and do it from the comfort of your office or home and do big business. And again, hire those professionals and let them go do it, right? Let them go do it. And there are deals that we look at that we don't want to perform on 100% without a shadow of a doubt. I'm not dishing a magic pill saying blue pill for multifamily, red pill for storage, green one for mobile home parks. It's not that. Everything takes work, and I'm not going to insult your intelligence and say any different, but it's all about getting lucky. And I'm not trying to be funny when I say that. You really have to get lucky in any business dealing. And who gets lucky? The person who has the knowledge, the person that's present, and the person that takes continuous action. And that's how you get lucky, because it's like a business card in your pocket. If that business card's in your pocket or in your wallet and it's sitting there, it's not going to do any good. You got to get the message out to the marketplace and let people know exactly what it is that you're doing. And don't hide behind a computer screen. Be truthful, have a level of integrity and respect, and get out there and just be the best person that you can be and do good business by good people. And that's my motto here in office. In all my offices, that's what I teach and what I share my clients and make sure that we do, because it rewards us. It rewards us tenfold when you do that. And you guys know this, right? I'm probably telling you something that you already know. So deals that we do perform on are these motivated sellers. The story is the most important piece of the puzzle. The deal's got to line up, but there's got to be a story and a reason why the seller has motivation to sell. And that's the negative. And I'm going to mention the negative because I've been mentioning a lot of positives, but that's the negative when we talk about getting out there and doing off-market, deal finding. Because if you're working with a seller and it's off-market, maybe some of you have experienced this. It's like they want to sell, but maybe they don't, but maybe they do, but maybe they don't. And then they go take advice. As I mentioned, never take advice from broke people. And I say this with all due respect. These attorneys and these, accountants and these brokers and folks that are out there, they're giving financial advice on a transaction where maybe that's not where they're best suited. And I've always said that attorneys, they'll potentially kill deals because they have to prove a point. And their point is to eliminate risk. And the only way to eliminate risk is to eliminate the deal. And you guys know that too, right? So we're looking for these deals where the sellers are offering seller financing. We are buying with deep discounts because we're buying the property utilizing a certain metric, which I'm going to teach in a moment here. We want to go and get in on the deals where we can get equity at closing. And how you get equity at closing is understand the ins and the outs of the deal and the particulars of that deal, right? The transaction, which leads me into the next talk here. Or where we can get on there and just create it. And we are all people of discovery. We're explorers, and we're also creative. And that's a fact. And of course, science has led us to all kinds of different studies where we only use part of our brain, and left brain thinkers, right brain thinkers, and random thought and logical thought, and all of the psychology of how everybody works. But if you're utilizing a system that works, then anyone can adapt to it, right? Anyone can adapt to it. So a lot of you guys can walk and chew bubble gum. I know it. Some of you guys have, ADD, and some have HD ADD, which is high definition, right? I totally get it. We all want to make things move and make things work and get things done really fast. But commercial is a slower moving game, because we have to make sure that we set the mark. We set our needs, our desires, our wants, what we're willing to sacrifice, and what we absolutely have to have in order to make the deal work. And if you follow those types of strict rules and you actually create that level of responsibility for yourself to not go and get radical, but to keep it very cool, keep your posture and do the right deals. I've been following Warren Buffett since I can first remember. And I was always amazed at different businesses that he owns and advice that he gives. And he says some really powerful things And I won't say them verbatim, but basically it's, hey, we don't look for 7 bars to jump over. We look for 6-inch bars to step over. And we look at a lot of pitches and we swing when we're good and comfortable. Really, really great advice. And then the best is like our timeline right now and why you guys are here at this wonderful platform is because you're here to get educated and to get motivated. And it does take that level of motivation to be able to say, okay, I'm constantly being touched by opportunity and being touched by people that want to see success happen. And I love the platform here about just opening it up and the networking and everything. It's really great. You guys are doing a really good job, man. I feel the love through the technology. But Buffett also says that in times when it rains, don't put out a thimble, put out a bucket. And I love that one because we ramp up acquisitions when we know that the timing's right. And just because interest rates are up, we're not using banks. So how awesome is that? Interest rates are up. So maybe there's some greed glands and some of the private lenders out there, and that's okay. Maybe they want some equity in exchange for just higher interest. Maybe they'll take a little bit of equity and a little interest. Maybe it's negotiable. I'm not sure how you guys loan your money or how your resources are set. But when I work with folks on my end, because I got the money nailed too, it's a great thing to be able to get creative even on the lending side. And that gives us opportunity to move in there and get creative. And then the exit strategies, as it says on the screen, which I've yet to say, which is filling the actual vacancies. And that's how we create the lift and raising the rents and then adding those profit centers and doing additional property expansion. And there's companies out there, if you want to write this down, there's some really cool companies that you can get in there and create this extension of these storage facilities or an extension on the dirt for multifamily and use companies like Boxwell or Tracti or Janus International out of Georgia. And for a true fraction of the price of actual ground up development, even at a time when price of building materials is up, it's still going to be cheaper. And a little tip, even out here in crazy Malibu, California, where the Coastal Commission, it could take you, 4 years to put a swimming pool in your yard or something, right? Even out here, if you have a 4-ton forklift and you can move a marine grade, airtight, watertight container, you can put those containers on dirt without having approval from the municipality, as long as you get a clearance from the fire so they can go in and out of the property without anybody obviously being stuck in there if a devastation happens. But there's even a property right down here from our offices that got pushed away from approval on self-storage. So they took like 10 acres and they have massive, these huge containers. I mean, these container drops, they're like, 10 feet by like 20 and even some larger ones. And the 10 by 20s I know rent for $900 each. And they're able to put those on the dirt. So getting creative ways to create profit centers is really amazing. Properties that we move forward on here in office that we're adding to the portfolio on a regular basis are apartments. We love the multifam, just like everyone out there. I saw someone's name on the 100 Millionaires event flyer. Never met the gentleman, but I know he's super cool, which is great. Out there doing his multifamily thing, and that's awesome. Great, you guys should hit that event for sure. And so my point is, apartments are awesome. Self-storage, it's a really great niche property. There has been some saturation in that, and I want to be straight up when I say that to you. But the beautiful thing is, I found the niche. And I want to share the niche with you guys really quick. I want to make sure that this call, you guys get blown away to the point where you're like, that's really cool. I learned something. And I want to make sure that I teach you something, because too often, probably not on this platform, because I know that they weed out those folks, but most definitely on average, podcasts and webinars, there's a lot of fluff. So I want to make sure I teach you something cool. So here's some really cool stuff as far as the self-storage sector is concerned. And then I'll continue to do this exercise and teach you the 5 things that you need to know before you ever want to know anything else for all property types. All right, so check this out. There's a niche happening in the self-storage industry. And most folks that are out there, there's 2 ways to do it. You're either going to have a manager with a management expense, or you're going to self-manage it. Then someone came up with something really cool. And I was actually a part of that transition because I saw the writing on the wall, and a company out in Utah had formatted it, and it's called Easy Storage Solutions. And I highly recommend them. I think they're really cool people, and I don't get any. They actually have a referral link, but I don't. You don't have to mention my name. You just call them, deal with them direct. But I deal with a guy over there. He's not a rep any longer. He's actually one of the big wigs now. His name's Christian. Super cool guy. But anybody can help you over there. Point being is your average cost for a manager would be over $20,000 across the nation. That's an annual salary. Where Easy Storage Solutions found a niche where they could get in there and offer third-party marketing management, collections. They can also do direct mail for an additional payment. They can handle incoming, outgoing calls, all the wonderful stuff. On average, it's a plug-and-play website, which is really cool. I'm going to show you a deal in a minute that a client of mine moved on out in Kissimmee, Florida. And you can check it out. I got bought out of that deal, and he moved on it. And I think he's selling it or it's sold. I know at one point it was like at 1,000,006 and change he was trying to get for it. And I got it for $500,000. We bought it together for $500,000. I'll share the case study with you in a minute. But my point is we hooked that to Easy Storage Solutions as well. And it's a plug and play website. And you upload all your info, and then there's like a hot map where you can go over, you can pull your profit and loss, you can look at your trailing 12 months, and of course it's got your full rent roll in there. So it's very user friendly, my point. $6,000 on average a year for this, right? Which is cool. So I found this niche early on. This was, I'm going like 10 years plus, right? I found this niche where if I utilized a third party, and you can even do this with SiteLink, which is another platform that a lot of people use. Some of these owners will just use QuickBooks, which is really poor to do. You don't want to use QuickBooks because you can't pull any data really, right? Just your numbers. But SiteLink and Easy Storage Solutions, write those down. But what I found was that with Easy Storage Solutions, there was still some issues. And I had a property out in St. Augustine, and what I found really quick about that property was that people, when they checked out, when they left, they like to take big items and throw them in my dumpster. And then the trash guy would not want to pick the receptacle up and throw it out, right? Because there was like box springs, mattresses, cabinets, all kinds of stuff. Really frustrating. So obviously we created signs and put those signs around and had to find somebody that could be present. And this was the niche that I found. I found that if I brought in a real estate agent, not a broker, a real estate agent, right? Because brokers, they get super busy a lot of times, right? And they're dealing with bigger properties. So a lot of times they don't want to have a little side hustle. But what I found is that a lot of real estate agents, they're looking for a side hustle, right? And if I could take care of them, even if it was something small, and I'm not going to need them all the time. It's like every once in a while, not even once a month, even less than that. Just to drive by, look at the property, check the property out. It all has automated gates. It's automated, modernized, and it's got the third-party marketing management collections for $6,000. Well, if I could pay them, $150, $200, the average car payment across the nation. Not everybody's driving BMWs and Mercedes, right? So a couple $100 here or there, that will have somebody on call. So that was a niche that I found, which helps out a lot to have somebody on call that's driving for dollars anyway, which is great. And then there's a situation, right? And here's the situation. Situation is that the average person that's out there, they're not looking for these units that are 100 units, 150 units, 130 units, 86 units. They're not looking at those deals. Why? Why aren't they looking at those? They're not looking at them because it's all about the gross income that comes in and then the expenses, right? Well, if the gross comes in, all the money that the property makes, and a large portion of that money is actually going to a manager, say $20,000, $24,000, and the property is only actually producing, $50,000 a year, half of the income is actually going towards management. And it just doesn't make sense for somebody to jump into that type of property unless they have that little niche that I found where you can lower your actual expenses and have a very low overhead to operate, and that's your operating expenses. Okay. So with this niche, what's so great is now what we do is we move forward and we acquire property. And what we'll do is we'll find an actual list, find a list, right? And the list that we'll find will be of self-storage owners. And when we find the list of these self-storage owners, what we'll do is we'll identify exactly what's happening in this market, right? Like some of you might ask yourself, if I mentioned, hey, would you invest in Montgomery, Alabama? You may say, Montgomery, Alabama, well, I don't know. I don't know if I'd invest there. But if you knew that the actual area was slated for $230 million in improvements in the center hub of Montgomery, Alabama, which is public knowledge, and you can Google it, that probably would change some things, right? Because now you're in the know. Or if you knew that in the future here, in a short period of time, upstate New York, which isn't far from you guys, like in Syracuse and different areas, they're supposed to employ another 9,000 people that they're slating to do this. And if that comes to fruition, then obviously there's going to be different growth patterns happening in different sectors. It's all about being in the know. You know, I look at the old movie Wall Street, not the new make, but the old one. Remember the old one, right? And with Charlie Sheen, right? And the guy rolls down the window and he points up at this big brick building and he's like, you know what? He's like, I made over $800,000 from this one trade on this building. He's like, you know, the only reason why I made that is because I had the intel, I had the knowledge, I was in the know. And it's so important to understand that. And even in the house buying business, you guys know this too. If you get a lead on a deal, that's gold, man. That's where you're going to produce the most results, is to be able to be in the know. So what we do is we look at any given area and we say, what's happening? Are you the big fish in the small pond, or are you the small fish in the big pond? And what's the saturation? How much is actually happening in this area? What's going on? And then once you identify that there's, let's say, a property here, 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 and there's all these properties that are all around and there's storage deals, where these storage deals are and how you locate these deals, what we do is we'll pull that list in that area, say within a 30-mile radius. And once we look at that 30-mile radius, we understand and we look at the actual location addresses and see if there's even a Google pin or a website. I'd say 80% of the deals that we find, they don't have a website, they're drive-by traffic. So these are hidden deals, they don't exist, right? They say, what, if the tree fell in the forest and you weren't in the forest, did the tree really fall, right? You have no clue, you have no clue. And so these people that are out there hunting these deals across this massive area of the United States of America, we're finding projects. And we'll go into a certain area and we'll acquire a certain amount of projects. For example, in Mississippi, I have ownership right now of 7 facilities. So imagine if you did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you had 527 units, right? All of these deals, except one that we paid cash for. All of these other deals, all 7, are all owner financed. One deal we paid cash because we got a smoking deal on it and we had to move it quick. And I transitioned 1031 money. So, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Sarah was doing something like that, right? And there's nothing wrong with transitioning your capital so it snowballs into making a lot more money, right? 527 unit. This is the sweet spot. Every one of these properties that we purchased, these properties are purchased all on average at 10 cap. I believe the lowest one that we have is a 9.6 cap. All the other are 10 cap or higher. So what this means is if we're buying property at 10 cap or higher, and we're going to trade this back at 6.5 cap on the trade, meaning when we sell, when I say trade, I'm talking sell. What that actually means at that point in time, I'm on a live call, I'll call you right when I get off, but sorry, bye-bye. What that actually means, when we trade at a 6.5 cap, when we're selling, the spread that we're making, our total debt, our acquisition debt is about 2.74, right? Trading this back at a 6.5 cap, we'll go ahead and sell this property at 5.3 million. That's about a $2.7 million take. All on finding deals that are hidden in commercial real estate that are right under everyone else's nose. And the reason why we find those is because we get creative on the way we identify opportunity and we look at the area. We understand area specifics on that criteria, meaning population, what's happening in that given area, outside of war zones, outside of the big MSA, the metropolitan statistic area. And we want to be in the submarkets at about 30,000 population and the lowest we'll go typically is 10,000 population. Unless we're going to add to our portfolio, it could even be in a submarket at 7,000. But the property at that point, we got to get a great deal on it, and it's got to be full. What we do at this point is we'll have one manager look after all of this. One manager. Okay. And if we have one manager looking at all of these properties, all 7 of these, it makes sense. It all makes sense. The take on it at $2.7 million on something like this, it just totally 100% makes sense. I recently taught this gentleman this strategy, and within about 10 months, he was able to facilitate this exact same model, and trading back, his debt was about almost close to the same. I think his debt was a little higher. It was like about 3 and change, and he was trading back at around 6. I don't know if he sold that portfolio, but who the heck would buy this portfolio at a 6.5 cap in submarkets? Real estate investment trusts. And right now, if you go on LoopNet, or you go on Crexi, or you go on Argus, or one of these platforms, and you try to identify an opportunity that you can buy property for a 10 cap, chances are there's going to be none. If you go for a 9 cap, chances are you're not going to find any either. And even if you go for 8 cap, you may stumble into 1 or 2, but they're probably going to be vacant property. I know of a couple that are out there right now because my acquisition team had brought them to us, but they're problematic areas and problematic properties. They're properties that I wouldn't even close on. So off-market deals, when you're looking at this, there's wonderful opportunity. All right, we go ahead and erase this board. Using that example and sharing this with you guys, this little hidden niche, your average investors out there, even your self-storage guys and gals that are pushing podcasts and going on Facebook and going on Instagram, obviously IG, right? And all these other spaces, you know, they're not looking at this. They're still hunting deals. And I created a platform just to find buyers. And when I did that, I found that, you know, I flooded, you know, Facebook pages and all these different mediums. And I ended up building this platform very, very quickly of just buyers because I was sharing deals. You know, I was sharing a large portfolio with people that was for sale, just like this is going to be for sale. And when deals get out there and you have opportunity, and I'm going to go slow on this, you have opportunity where you move forward, and the strategy is to put down your earnest money deposit. Then what you have is a contract. That contract goes to close. That contract states that that seller finance note is non-recourse, which means that it's no personal guarantee on your behalf. There's no cross collateralization, so you're not putting up any other assets as collateral to lower their risk. And you're also in a position where you can have it where it's assumable. I mentioned this earlier, assumable, transferable, non-recourse seller finance note, okay? And when that happens and you're able to go ahead and move that forward, someone else can step into your shoes, they can purchase that property from you, and you can take the actual spread, put it in your pocket, walk away, and now they inherit your entire contract and ownership of that. There's also another way to do it as well, which is to sell your empty shell LLC. I do a lot of business with Anderson Business Advisors. And again, no need for an affiliate link. They have one, but you don't need to mention my name. They'll set you up, and this is kind of out of the scope of today, but I just wanted to give that pay forward content to you, that when we're doing business either out of Wyoming or out of Nevada. Many of you know this because the benefit to that is you have anonymity, which means that you remain anonymous in the entity. And I've been doing this for years. Of course, early on, it was Nevada. Now there's a lot of stuff in Wyoming. And there's now these new statutory trusts, which help out that you can put property into the statutory trust, which avoids the reassessment of tax value and all kinds of great stuff. It's out of the scope because I'm not an attorney and I'm not a CPA. You can talk to Anderson or another specialist in regards to that. But a lot of these really awesome techniques that come up and new regulations that really give us benefit, but just, you know, posture and make sure that you're doing business right, exactly as I mentioned. But when they set you up, they'll set you up in either an S Corp or a C Corp. what's great is that entity owns an LLC, and that LLC owns that state specific LLC. And it really keeps the dynamic of everything away from you, and it keeps you owning a business which operates. And it's a really a slick way to move it forward and to have the right type of protection. All right. And I'm sure that you guys have heard asset protection people and everything else. So by way more than what I could share with you, I was just giving you the overview. All right. So here's a great example, and I'm using these not as a testimonial because there's nobody's face on here. It's just a case study to show it to you on miscalculation. This deal out in Kissimmee, Florida, we had a motivated seller, and my client actually brought me this deal, and I said, and it was actually at like 800,000. And I looked at it at first and I said, it's kind of in a crummy area of Kissimmee. It was actually 3 properties, 2 sister properties right next to one another down in a more less desirable area. And then this little guy. Okay. And the seller, what happened was I was doing a training, and I meet with my clients every Wednesday in a group setting. I call it the power hour on Wednesday. So we just had it yesterday. And during that power hour, I was sitting here right in the same room. This is my office. I'm sitting here and I'm talking, I'm going. And I said, if you see this ever in a transaction and you're reviewing it, make sure you stop everything and you call me direct on my cell phone. And at the end of the training, my phone rang, and it was Brad. I said, what's up, man? And he's like, everything you just talked about, this is that deal. And I said, slow down, tell me what it is. And he told me, and I said, wow, let's send it. Let me look at it. Let me review it. And when I reviewed it, it blew me away. And I've seen this several times throughout my career where things happen, situations happen. What happened was this guy, his father-in-law, right, his wife's father, right, his father-in-law passed away. And what he did was he wrote down like all the details of what they're supposed to pay, right? All the expenses. You got to pay this, you got to pay that, you got to pay this, you got to pay that. What they didn't realize is that the actual seller miscalculated their mortgage as part of their expense, and they were trying to sell the property, and they just wanted cash. They wanted that infusion of cash, and they just wanted to move on. And so back and forth on the call, when Brad was talking to this guy, Brad said, let's call him. And so we ended up giving the guy a call because my power hour is at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So there's plenty of time. And Brad was out he actually lives in the Lake Mary area, which is outside of Kissimmee. So it was still midday. We went ahead and called the guy. And when the guy was on the phone, he wasn't so nice. And sometimes people aren't that nice on the phone, just to be straight. And we know this because people are busy, right? But this guy, he was kind of, sick of talking to Brad. And he's like, are you guys going to perform? Are you guys real? Can you do this deal? Can you do this deal? He's like, make me an offer then. Make me an offer. And I said, I'll pay $500,000 cash. I'll close in 10 days. And he's like, if you don't close, I was like, I'll close in 10 days, $500,000 cash. I'll wire the money to X title company and we'll do it. And we ended up doing that. And we purchased it for $500,000. We instantly went in there and canceled management. We took out that expense that they had as a mortgage, and the property at the end of the day, when we crunched the numbers on the market cap, the property was worth at market occupancy, 1.3 million. Let me stop right there and posture and give you guys some true value add here, right? When we look at property, we look at what the current, and this goes for self-storage, and sorry to talk so heavy on storage, and that's not really my full 100% dynamic. I look at all property types, and I'm going to get to that in a minute on why I want you guys to also focus on all property types, even hotels, motels, warehouse, big box warehouse, retail, land, offices, medical offices, ambulatory care, congregate living, assisted living, senior living facilities, every single property out there, because there's a but for every seat. There's people out there that want certain product that maybe we don't want because it's not recessionary proof, but somebody else will want it. Follow? And that's what we refer to as commercial real estate wholesaling. And I'll talk about that business as well, because that is a big business within the niche too. Okay. Hence the 2 best strategies to profit with commercial real estate. One is to wholesale it, and the other one is to reposition it and maximize profit. Okay. So what we're looking at for commercial real estate and self-storage investing is the physical occupancy and the economic occupancy. And the difference between the two is the physical means all of their items that are in here. They just got stuff in the box. Because all their stuff is sitting in the box, right? It's just sitting there. But the economic occupancy is going to be different because that's exactly what people are actually paying on. The physical is just all their stuff in the box, and the economic occupancy is who's paying. So we have to differentiate, right? We need to understand that there's going to be a situation. I purchased a property out in St. Augustine where the physical occupancy was 93% and the economic occupancy was below 40. And the reason why is because the guy sitting in the box was taking checks and he was having people write checks to cash and he was taking the checks. And he was also having people pay cash too and putting it in his pocket. And once we went ahead and canceled that and figured it out, all we did is a direct mail campaign. We used call fire blast for voice call, and people understood very quickly that there was a new owner and that they needed to start paying their bills. And I kid you not, within the first month, the first 30 days, we almost corrected to where it should have been. And that's just because people didn't know, right? So physical occupancy versus economic occupancy, right? So what we do is we look at this opportunity and we say to ourselves, okay, it makes sense for us to buy a property as long as we understand the ins and the outs and we can get it to its highest and best use, its highest and best, okay? All right, cool. So look at the before and after pictures of this thing. I mean, this was the first shot at it and I was like, I looked at it and I was like, this thing is kind of grimy, you know? But it's amazing what happens when you clean something up. This is not photo enhanced at all. And we actually marked off some additional parking. That was a profit center. It was pretty tight. There wasn't any additional dirt. And we created like little small, 20-foot craft or less for craft boat car parking. And, you can see the sign in the background that he put as well. This is income that pulled through over $9,000. And then we have properties that we wholesale. Properties that we wholesale, and what is wholesaling in a nutshell for clarity? Wholesaling, and we know this because there are a lot of situations that can happen by doing business with residential and wholesaling and all that stuff. But what we found is that we're very transparent. We're very straightforward about it. If we were planning on wholesaling a property, we let them know that what we're going to do is we're going to close in a separate entity. And from time to time, we bring on partners, and sometimes those partners buy us out. And if they buy us out, that's going to be a situation that happens where we're going to receive an assignment fee. We want to make sure that the brokers are cool with that. We want to make sure that the sellers are cool with that. We want to make sure everybody's cool with that. And once they are, then there's nothing wrong with doing that, right? And all it is writing it up in a company name, your S Corp, C Corp, or LLC, and then simply a phrase right behind it, which is and or assigns, which gives you the ability to reassign that contract. You also want to make sure that you take out any specific performance clause, which states that if you do not perform, that they can sue you for the full dollar amount. So make sure you write that down. You take out the specific performance clause, okay? And then you also take out any additional mention of recourse loans, and you take out any additional mention of that you can't assign it. And you have to go ahead and be straight about it. That's the way I do business. You can do business the way you want to do business, but I find that when I'm straight up about things, and I got a thick skin, so I don't mind if it's okay if they say, no, you can't do it. I don't want you to do that. Or maybe sometimes they just say, okay, but it has to be okayed by the actual seller. When that happens, then you also have to realize that it may turn into a recourse loan because they want to know who they're doing business with. So if you articulate the negotiation where you have it non-recourse and they're not cool with you wholesaling it, it just might be a situation where you have to bring in a recourse buyer. That does happen from time to time. And even so, we can pitch these deals out as having to have a personal guarantor on it. But if the deal's good and the deal stands up and it's in a good area and it doesn't have problems and there's upside to be made on it, and we leave enough meat on the bone for the next guy or gal to move in and make money, people really they're not really that concerned about the recourse, non-recourse. It's just protection for the actual owner that's doing the financing, okay? And obviously we wholesale cash deals too. And if it's cash, I've yet to see anybody be disgruntled to say, no, I don't want you to bring in a potential other buyer. They're like, if you close it, it's cash. Like, what do they care if it's your cash or someone else's cash, right? That doesn't make sense, okay? So with that, and with all that said, we can wholesale properties. We can do the retail. We can do shopping centers as well. I got buyers that want actual office buildings and medical offices. I mentioned industrial malls, RV parks, manufactured housing, even land that's sitting there. We got buyers that want even agricultural land as long as it has certain elements like utilities to site, and it's got road frontage, and it's got a municipality that's pro-growth, and they can fast track the actual zoning process. So there's all types of different little niches within the business. You never know what somebody has for sale besides what they're offering for sale until you ask. And that's one of the things that I love to teach is always exploring, because we're explorers. We always have it. We always explore opportunity, whether it's an opportunity to meet somebody and create a business relationship with them or a personal relationship with them. And we explore to have fun. And this is a business where you can really get out there and you can say, hey, look, I'm in it for the money. I'm in it for the money. And that's what we're in it for. It's not a charity event. And I mentioned that to them. I never teach a boot camp on the phone to any sellers or brokers. But one of the things I do mention is to be very clear. Be very clear. I'm in it to make money. And if I can't buy it right, if I can't get in light enough, and if I can't put my dollars to work to reposition this property, to get it up and running, to automate, modernize it, to do the improvements that are necessary, I'm not going to be interested in performing and doing the deal. And I think that that's where it separates, is that we're not begging for deals over here. There's no desperation. There's not this thing where we're anxious to do it. We're always willing to walk away from the deal. And you know that that's a level of power, because if you're out there looking at enough opportunity and you're picking and choosing, like Buffett said, swing when you're good and ready, then it's got to make sense. 3 things we need on a deal, on every deal. And I mentioned this a little earlier, but I want to be sure that I'm 100% straight on it. Okay. So it's going to be a T12, which is a trailing 12 months, or if they don't have that, then we're going to do actually a year to date. And that's the difference between the two. Obviously you wouldn't get a trailing 12 months of 2022 because we're just sitting here in October. So they only have books that go up to September. So you're actually going to get a trailing 9 months. Follow? So we always want to ask, hey, can we get last year's 12 and get this year's year to date? Because we want to see exactly if they up rents, what's going on, if it's been on a down cycle, right? Super important. And then we're going to look at is the profit and loss summary. And then we always want to see the rent roll. Now the rent roll is going to be something that's a little sticky because they're not going to want you to go air out their business. And they don't know if you own other, businesses, whether it's multifam or what, self-storage or whatever. They're not going to want to give you a rent roll because, obviously if you owned it, you wouldn't want to show all your people in there. But we do want to see that there are more than just one person. There's not going to be, the owner on an 80 unit occupying 50 units because he's a hoarder, right? So we want to make sure that we understand that there's actually people that are in there paying the bills. So at one point through due diligence, we get this information. Okay, very good. Now, here's where the plot thickens. Some of you guys go out there maybe and you're looking around on a website, or you're getting a lead sent to you and you're interested in this business, right? Do I have anybody who's interested in this, right? Anybody? Any hands go up? I see a lot of chat. I'm not really chatting with people because I'm doing the chatting here, but 100%. And I hope that you guys understand that this is one of those businesses that it's not like a struggle or just to get one is going to take a long time. People always ask me, how long does it take to get a deal? I'm like, it's going to take you a long time to get a deal unless you understand what it is that you're looking for. This is a very busy world. We're all busy. It's busy, right? And it's the social network has made us antisocial. We're all text messaging, and texts don't come across the right way sometimes. And you read it and it's like, what did this person just say? But they didn't really mean that. They just texted it, and we're busy, right? So it's crazy, this technology. And I was before the tech, right? And I know Duncan was too. We were before the tech. And I remember the old dial-up when you stick it into the big, huge, fat computer and it growls at you when it's coming out of the wall. But the crazy thing is that when you quiet the noise, I'll give you an example real quick before I move on. You quiet the noise. Here's an exercise to do for all of you if you want to go out and test the market on the internet to try to see if you can find something. So let me give you a little meat on the bone here, okay? So check it out. So there's a lot of noise out here. I'll make my noisy circle. So what we want to do is we want to quiet this noise. We want to shrink the noise, right? So if you, for instance, go on LoopNet, there's going to be, when you enter in, it's going to ask you to put your location. You can just bypass that and just click search. And then it'll just give you everything across the US. It's going to give you all property types and all locations. It's going to be massive amounts of little red flags everywhere, right? That's the noise. We want to quiet the noise. You can click the filter button and you can go into the filter section. When you go into the filter section, then you can go into property types. If you go into the property type section, then you can click whatever property type you want. Self-storage, if I've been talking about it, so I'll mention that it is an industrial property type, but it's not in the industrial tab. It's in the specialty tab. So if you go there and you'll see it on the left-hand side of the bar and you click specialty, then you'll see self-storage in there, okay? Click self-storage if you want to search that. Otherwise, you can do multifamily, whatever else you want, okay? Now, all of a sudden, the noise is going to quiet down a little bit because you've taken away from everything, right? We want to quiet it down even more. What you can do is understand the size of buildings, what's relative, right? Look at your houses, right? If you had a house that's 5,000 square feet, it's going to be like a big house, right? It's somewhat 10,000 is like a mansion, right? Then you get down to something small, like a little cookie cutter. Obviously, if it's like 1,500 square feet, it's going to be pretty tiny. 1,000 square foot, it's a craft shack, right? You're 700 square feet, it's a craft shack. So understand the size and understand how many spaces you need in the size. So go to the actual area where it says the net rentable square feet and square foot, and then go ahead and put something in real. You know, I had somebody walk up to me in Miami when I was chatting with some investors, and they said, do you ever have anything over 25,000 square feet, 25,000 net rentable square feet? It was just the number that they hit. That's what they wanted. So yeah, if you were to click 25,000 square feet or more, then it's going to take all those little fourplexes and you know, which isn't even commercial. Anything that's under 5 units isn't actual commercial unless it's on commercial zoning. So I'll take out all those, you know, duplex, triplex, quadruplex. It'll take out all of those deals that are out there that are just dirt because, you know, the dirt out there doesn't have actual building size on it. If you're going to be searching for dirt alone, go to agricultural for agricultural by acre, and then actual square footage would be for your commercial and your industrial zoning. Now it gets good. Now what you can do is go to the cap rate. This is where it's going to quiet it down. It's going to put it into like a laser focus for you. You go to the cap rate section, and where it says cap, it says from and to. If you were to click 8 cap to say 12 cap pro forma, then what's going to happen is it's going to quiet all those deals down that are 6, 5, 6, 7 cap, 7.5 cap, 7.9 cap. It's going to take them all away. Now what's going to happen is you're going to shrink. And when you shrink down and you take all this noise away, then something's going to happen, which is pretty amazing. You're looking at a particular zone. Now what you can do is you can even click and get down even deeper. There's a keyword search field in there where you can put in really cool keywords like, you know, 1031, like someone has to cash out right away. Or you can do something like value add or vacancy, right? Or distressed, and they even have a distressed property button. Look, this is just one simple way to test the market. I'm not saying this is the ultimate way to find commercial real estate, but I am just saying it's one way that you can really see how much deal is out there and how much the market has shrunk to see that off-market deals are probably going to be the best deals to go after, right? Now, looking at opportunity. Before I'm going to share this next deal with you, I want to mention that a lot of you will get out there from maybe this training or someone else's training, or maybe going to the 100 millionaires. You guys are going to be pumped, right? Which is great. You guys should all go again. And I think that what's really cool is harnessing that knowledge and making sure that you take that action. But one thing is for certain, there's without a shadow of a doubt, one thing is for certain, you know, taking the action with the knowledge. And you can also waste a little bit of time if you just go at it alone, willy-nilly, fly by the seat of your pants. And why that is because if you're out there and you think it's a deal, but you're not sure, then there's that uncertainty. Let me share something with you to strengthen your journey along the first step of getting out there and finding and locating a really good opportunity. Okay, there's 5 things. I'm going to cover these in detail for you. And I really think this is going to help you guys. Okay, and some of you guys that are veterans, you're going to be like, that's good information, I hope, right? You can give me your feedback. The first thing, and this may sound elementary, but don't take this lightly, is the ask price. Now you're going to say, Terry, come on, man, you're going to talk about the ask price? Come on. What I'm saying as far as he's holding his book, it says the ask. When you're talking about the ask price, well, anybody can ask anything, right? Something's worth what someone's willing to pay. Someone's going to go on a fishing expedition and try to reel it in. They're going to reel it in, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But my point is we need to get to the bottom dollar. We need to protect our time by getting out there and seeing what the ask price is. And of course, I'm sure your book reference, you got to ask, right? So here it is. What is the best offer that you turn down? What is the best offer that you turn down? You can ask this to the broker. You can ask this to an owner. Well, what's the best offer that you turn down? Look, I'm going to teach this to you in a second. But if you know that they have $50,000 in NOI, net operating income, which we're going to get to in a sec, right? And you look at it and their ask price here, right, is going to be $1 million. You know right out of the gate, there's no possible way you're going to perform on this deal. If they turn down $1 million, it's a dud. There's no way. There's no way. And so for that, what I'm going to share with you is something so important along the journey, which is number 2, which flows with this dynamic, which is the as is value. When I say as is, I want you guys to hit this, right? Hit this home. As is, where is in its current state and its current condition, what it's operating at today, not what it could be in the future, not after you raise rents, not after you do repairs to it, none of that. What it's currently producing right now. And here, we all know what funnels are, right? We've seen funnels, right? Funnels. And in information marketing, we're huge on funnels, all of us guys, right? And your funnel, this is your deal. And all your money that's going to come into the funnel right here, right? This is all considered your gross income. Okay? It's all considered your gross income, right? So all the money that comes in is the gross. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and line item all the expenses. Okay? Your expenses like, your taxes, your insurance, your management, your utilities, all these things are itemized expenses. Once we take out all those expenses, then you're left with the net income. Okay? And the formula is very simple. The formula, the whole key to the cap rate formula is the NOI divided by the purchase price, which equals the cap, meaning the capitalization rate. And that capitalization rate is going to be either a single digit or a double digit number. Now don't get this backwards. I know some of your veterans are probably tired of me already talking about it, but the lower the cap is going to be the better for when you sell. The higher the cap is the better when you buy. It'll probably blow some of you away when I said that I buy typically on a 10 cap formula. The reason why I'm buying on 10 cap as is because it justifies the purchase, because it doesn't qualify for bank financing. It's sitting with a level of distress. These owners with their story, which we've been hearing a lot of, are inheritance property. Look, I lost my father 2 years ago to COVID, and he died from influenza. My mother is currently, now I put her into a assisted living out in Westlake, which is on the other side of Malibu. I've lost an uncle. Things happen. It's what happens. We want to retire wealthy, but sometimes we expire, and that's part of life. This baby boomer situation and things happening, it's just that's where it goes. And when people have assets, they hand them down, then that's inheritance property. We're getting a lot of that. We're getting a lot of people that are just out of gas. On the East Coast, we call it the chutzpah, right? They're out of chutzpah. They just want to get away from the property. They've been managing it for so long. They're tired of it. Some people are scared. They're watching what's happening, in different parts of different countries. I'm not going to get political. They have upset over politics. I'm not going to get political, as I said. I'm not voicing my opinion to that. But people have uncertainty, and for that, they want to sell. We're finding that opportunity is present. We're buying on 10 cap. So using this formula, okay, NOI divided by purchase price equals cap rate. You don't even have to be savvy. You don't need a computer. You don't have to grab your phone. You don't have to put in your calculator, right? I like the shirt, brother. You don't have to put any numbers in your phone. This is simple, right? So we're going to use the 10 cap formula. So here's a little test for all you guys to engage to see if you guys got this, right? I'm going to use the 10 cap formula on this deal, right? If I have $50,000 net operating income, right? That means that all of the gross came in and I minus out all the expenses and it left me with 50,000 net. I'm going to use a 10 cap formula on $50,000. What's the property worth? You're right. You're adding zeros.
500K. Let's go.
Let's go. 500K. All right. And for the rest of you, 61,000, 610,000, 91,000, 910,000, right? 110,000, 1.1 million. So using this 10 cap formula, if you look at this now, let's just go back to what I said earlier. Would you buy this property under this equation? And I said, heck no, you're not going to buy it. You know why you're not going to buy it? Because it's sitting at a 5 cap property. This property is worth $500,000 on our metric. If they're asking 1 million, then obviously that's double. That's a 5 cap. You want that? You can go right back on LoopNet, right? Mic drop. So there's tons of people out there selling 5 cap and 6 cap and 7 cap. There's no lift. There's no money to be made on it, man. You're just sitting there looking at this thing saying, who buys these things? You know who buys them? People that position for 5 years to play appreciation and depreciation, and they have to give minimal returns, which are REITs, real estate investment trusts. And that's who's going to buy my deal, I'm sure, because we're going to market with it on my 6 property portfolio. And that's a beautiful thing. Everybody's a winner. Everybody's a winner. They can't find property. They're hungry for property. I created opportunity. I showed you guys the secret sauce of getting these smaller deals that nobody else wants because it eats up all their management expense. And it's a sweet opportunity to be able to look at something like this, right? So I said there's 5 things. Let's identify the other 3. The next one is
if I can pop in. Somebody earlier said, actually a couple people earlier voiced, I know everybody who's from Boston is thinking there's no way we could do this in Boston. Look,
Yeah.
guys, I'm in the market. I'm right here in Massachusetts. I mean, I'm living in Tampa, but all my properties are in Massachusetts. And like this still works. This works in your market where you're at. It work. He's not talking about buying 100-unit properties, right? He's talking about buying, the 3-family, the 6-family, the 12-unit at these 10 cap offers. This literally works. Terry, you're on fire, brother. I had to say it because I got to preach, man.
no, please jump in anytime, bro. I appreciate you, man. And you guys know ARB, and yeah, this works across the nation. But there are some markets where it can get tight. There's no doubt. But there's always opportunities. There's always somebody that has a situation, right? And we mentioned network earlier and the great networking that you guys did earlier. The size of your net worth is due to the size of your network. You guys have heard all the same stuff I've heard, but it's absolutely true because when you're out there and you're networking and you're getting the message out there, like I said, the business card does no good in the wallet or pocket. It's got to get out. You got to speak for purpose, clarity. You got to articulate your hustle, what you're doing. I call it the elevator pitch. If you're sitting on the penthouse and you're there, right? And the door's ready to close and somebody puts their hand on the door. It always happens, right? The door reopens and they step inside and they're like, so what do you do? All right. And you're at a real estate conference or whatever. And by the time you get from the penthouse to the ground floor, you better have that opportunity to pitch yourself. And I know my brother had mentioned being a salesperson. Just deal with it. It's not a bad word. It was born a bad word. It doesn't have to live a bad word. And the fact is, we're all salespeople. I said it earlier. We make decisions every single day and we sell ourselves every single day. And it's a great thing. And you feel good when you have that successful outcome. So just get out there and be the best person. I'll tell you right now, you're going to make a horrible somebody else, but you make a perfect you. And that's a fact. That's a fact. All right.
For everybody on the call, let's give Terry a big round of applause. That's all fire just now. And I just want to say, I'll list a couple of markets that does work in Boston. We're talking Worcester, Fall River, New Bedford. You've got Lynn, Fitchburg, Brockton still available. It works, go around the outskirts. If you can get 45 minutes away from Boston, you're going to do fantastic with this strategy. You just got to get to the tertiary markets.
Yeah.
Thank you, Terry.
Yeah, man, absolutely. 100%. So the after repaired value, we know that's the value at its highest and best use. And that's really easy to calculate because we just look at apples to apples, right? You have to have the class of the building. You have to look at the amenities that come along with it. And of course, if it's storage, then it's just the unit mix. And what we do is we take that unit mix and we say to ourselves, okay, where are the market rents are, right? Where are the market rents? For the R, there's three things that we want to look at. The first thing was what we want to know is what is the actual market occupancy? Write that down, market occupancy. So market occupancy will differ from certain zones and certain locations because certain places will be at 100%, or maybe some other place will struggle because it's a smaller market and it'll only be at 95%. Typically, your average investor, they factor in a percentage for CapEx, which stands for capital expenditures. That's things that are going to happen to the property, right? Major things. But then they also factor in a vacancy factor as well. And by putting in that vacancy factor, it protects the numbers of the deal. I mean, it pretty much, I'll say it kind of sucks at the end of the day when you look at all the expense ratios that people are using. I mean, it blew me away. One of my guys, Jeff, he said to me, you know, we just did this 53 unit apartment. And he's like, you know, I have to calculate this thing at like almost 50% expense. And I'm like, you're taking away all the money. He's like, I know. And 46 units are renoed out of 53. And I still have that deal. It's still sitting right now. It's in a smaller market. But you know, we got it at 2.6 million. 46 units are renoed out of the 53. 2.6 million is what I got it for, and yeah, I'd let the thing go. I mean, I'd do it with somebody too. I mean, it just is what it is. It's just another deal, right? But it's in a smaller market. Market occupancy is really important, and then what we're also going to look at is the market cap. The market cap is super important because we want to know exactly what it's going to trade at. We want to know where the actual trade is. And then also the expense. And the expense is going to vary as well due to the area that you're located in. So once you understand where those expenses are and we take those expenses out, then we're really going to have a level head on the true numbers, okay? So can somebody get out there and fluff numbers? What happens if they give you bogus numbers, right? And that's something that we need to really pick apart. And if you're a real savvy investor, you're going to really hone your skill set on saying, all right, I got to get my finance deal sharp here. I got to really look at these numbers and say, okay, where are they? And that's exactly what Jeff did. You know, one of my guys, when he came back to me, he's like, look, here's where the numbers truly are. So doing underwriting and understand that we need to tear something all the way down to complete vacancy and then build it back up at market rent, at market occupancy, and at market cap is going to do everything for us to ensure that we get it. We understand the numbers. When somebody gives us their net income, or if that broker lists that net income, we still want to know what the gross is, what the past T12 is, and what the current year to date is. Because what we're going to do is we're going to take that year to date, let's say it's 9 months, we're going to divide that by 9, and then we're going to annualize that again by 12, and then we're going to factor in our own expense ratio. And we're going to look at what their taxes are. We're going to look at what the utilities are. We're going to justify all that stuff. And then when we look at it, then we come up with our true net income. And then we look at the market cap, and then we trade it back at that market cap and say, okay, here's the spread from here to here, right? So this is where it gets good, right? The loan amount. Now you want to get creative, like super creative, and be able to get in this deal and be able to orchestrate the right terms. Then what we're going to do is we're going to say, all right, if we're going to get the right terms on this, we need to understand some things, because if you get out there and negotiate prematurely, and many of you know this already, lack of intel, preparation is the key to success. You got to be prepared. You got to ask the questions. How much do you owe, right? I want to know exactly what that loan structure currently looks like. Is it a first? Is it a second? Is it a third? Are the taxes current, right? How much is their interest rate? When does it balloon? Meaning, when does that loan due? You know, it's all good when you can orchestrate a negotiation and talk through it. But without that intel, you're going to maybe get a no when it didn't have to be a no. Like you go out there and you start asking for like 36 months, but they have a balloon on maybe a second for $250,000. And then they say no. And you're trying to get in on the deal for say 150,000. Or if you would have just cured that 250, right? The 250,000 that's due, they probably could have carried for the remaining 7 years on their other existing loan. So things of that nature are really important. I just did a deal just this last week, put it under contract when I say do the deal, and it's pending closing. And we did a 10% interest only structure. Why in the world would I pay 10% interest only? Because I know that these people are not going to give me 5% because of the amount of money that's being made on this 2-property self-storage portfolio. I have to make it realistic, and I'm still cash flowing at closing. I'm not cash flowing as much as that Arizona project that I mentioned, where it's at $6,000 a month, but this one is still at $1,500 a month, which isn't nothing to shake a stick at. And that deal has got tons of potential and upside. So understand the loan amount. Last one, this one's a rookie mistake that I see a lot of people do. And maybe you've experienced this in the house buying business or in your early years of commercial real estate investing, is the repairs. People look at it and say, oh, well, look, you can get it on the steel on a 10 cap, and then it's worth, when you fill it, it's worth all this money. But then if you bring it to me and I looked at it, I'd say, no, it's not, because at the end of the day, that property needs another $500,000 worth of work. And even if we got it for $1 million, we're really not getting it for $1 million. We're getting it for 1.5. Get it? Here's one of my clients, Christy. This again is just a case study real quick. She started off in residential. She joined my team. And in less than 24 months, she did 10 real estate projects. This one is a 60 unit. It's a burb of Austin, Texas. And we structured a 97% seller finance note with just $53,000 down on a $1,395,000 purchase. This is the longest note I've ever had a seller carry in my entire career, 29 years, without any personal guarantee. Why would he do it? Well, I asked him, what do you do? And he said, I buy and sell notes. So obviously he wanted a long-term note, which made perfectly good sense. Man, this is not a typical deal that you would want to do. It's a larger project, and this particular deal, it did have some hair on it. I went out, did a little bus tour with some clients, and you could see the boarded up doors and all that. I mean, this thing was a grind. It's not like a storage deal. Here's the before shots. Here's the after shots. We basically just put some lipstick on it and some blush. And here's the after exterior shots of it, after interior shots of it. This is the before, what it looks like on the fourplex. And then here's the after. So, you know, with that type of deal, you know, getting in there and doing the big rehab, can you take those projects on? Sure. You know, that project, at the end of the day, it was valued at, you know, well over $3 million. But you can also create a small portfolio of smaller deals and move that portfolio on all off-market projects versus getting into something that may take you, 18 to 24 months to accomplish, as far as going and doing that one deal. Fortunately for us, we delegated a lot of that responsibility outward, which gave us opportunity to continue with acquisitions. And that's the reason why Christy was able to ramp it up and do some great business. You don't need any of your own capital, credit, business credit, management skills. You're never going to manage the property. Managing the property to me is not the rich person's game. It really takes a lot of your time and a lot of your energy. You can start right away. That's the beautiful thing about this as well. You can do the business from home. You never have to visit the property. I don't. You do it from your computer, your phone. You can create that independence, financial security, and it is a rinse and repeat model. That's exactly what we're doing here. It's a rinse and repeat model. These owners that are out there, currently, they're desperate beyond belief. We're seeing this. They're losing everything personal, their home to commercial property. The baby boomers I mentioned is facing health issues. Distressed owners will gladly finance you if you can justify it. What are some of the things that you're going to say to get out there, and justify numbers, justify why they should carry paper, right? They'll gladly finance you if you can prove to them and share with them that, hey, look, you become the bank. Like you're a note holder at this point, and you put some security instruments in place. Like if it's a deed state, you can do deed in lieu of foreclosure. You can do a performance guarantee that the property is not going to fall below a certain occupancy level. You can put together a maintenance plan where it's not going to have major deferred maintenance. You don't deliver their property back vacant and ugly. There's a lot of ways that you can convince them. And the main one is capital gains. They don't pay huge capital gains on a windfall of money when they sell. Heck, I've had people tell me that they didn't even want to sell when we contact off-market people. And they say, because I have to pay too much in taxes. And I'm like, look, no, you don't. You can have an income stream every month and not have to go to the box or not have to look after that multifam and not have to deal with the actual tenants any longer. Here's Kevin. And this is a long-term profit strategy and formula for him. This purchase price is much smaller. It was like $315,000. This thing's in Galveston Island, Texas. The owner is a hard money lender. It needed some deferred maintenance, not a lot, around 50 grand. So we structured the deal with $60,000 cash back at closing. It's pulling in around 4,100. It's a little small deal. So you got to ask yourself, here's the before and here's the after. But like, to do something like this, like, why not do something bigger? Those are Texas fishing holes back here in the back. But you can see there's a $60,000 incoming wire that he received. There's an old way to do business. There's the new way. The old way is you need massive credibility, history of ownership, personal financials, tax returns, bank statements, credit reports, and any assets that you own. Why do they want to see assets? Because they want you to personally guarantee the loan, and more than likely want you to also get out there and utilize those assets to cross-collateralize. That way, they put your other assets at risk too. But the new way is super, super great. It's predictable, and it's simple, and it's highly effective. And I guarantee you this, if you do it right, it will produce more income than ever dreamed possible. And it's not just me. You guys saw names on the 100 millionaire flyer as well, and lots of people online. People are doing this business of real estate and commercial real estate. So, for me to sit here and say, hey, it will produce money if you do it right, it is a true statement, because I've done it. I have clients that are proven they're doing it. And I know folks here on this platform are doing it, and you can do it too, right? So people always ask me, like, how long does it take with the new way? You find the deal, you pre-screen it, you evaluate it, you negotiate it, and then you either use one of two. You can do the long way, which is average 12 months, or you can do the short way, which can be an average of 60, 90 days. And the reason why it's so short in 60 to 90 days, so you guys don't call, BS on that, is because your average due diligence can be anywhere from 30 days to 90 days. And typically it falls out at 45 days. So if you're going to be wholesaling that deal, you got to move it within that 45 time period. So it totally is justifiable that you're going to move deals and wholesale them within, 60, 90 days, 100%. The long-term strategy, that's to get it, fill it, reposition it. You're more likely going to want to keep it for 12 months for tax reasons, and then go ahead and sell it thereafter. And of course, market timing is also very, very important. So if you found this helpful, if you did find it helpful, you're really going to like what's next. So Duncan, I'm not sure if you have a slide to load, and if I can pass back the handle to you on that note, but I do not have the additional slides if you had other slides that you wanted to share.
No, Terry, I don't. If you wanted to take any questions, or if you have a link for whatever special offer you have, you can put up there. So yeah, pretty much, you're ending the meeting with a great offer.
Okay, gotcha.
To work with you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, no worries. So yeah, typically the way it works is do you want to furnish them? Do you have like an email where they can email you if they want to get in touch with me, and if they want to get in touch with the offer, and then what we can do is just send the offer out to them? Is that a possibility, Duncan?
Yeah, sure. We can do that. They can just email the REIA general email, and I'll get that, and then I'll forward that on to you, and they can put up you can talk about the special offer.
Okay, that's
Before Terry comes up, hands to the camera if this has been a valuable training. I know a lot of it is, it can seem overwhelming to get into multifamily, but hands to the camera if you've gotten a lot of information tonight. Awesome. So what Terry's about to share is what every great mentor should be able to do at some point is give back, take on a few more students, take on a few people to be able to move forward with them. And I want each one of you to make this commitment as you become successful, as you become millionaires, you build your wealth. Just remember what Terry's doing today and the offer he's about to present. You might want to consider giving back once you've gotten yours. Hence, if you know, it's all about giving. The more you give, the more quality you have in your life, the more people you're supporting, the more good juju you have out there. Terry talked about getting lucky, but a lot of that luck comes to having helped a lot of people along the way. So as Terry presents this offer, there's a great opportunity for anybody if you're looking to level yourself up, get to the next level. Buying at a 10 cap is very possible, but it takes having the right mentor to help you get there. And from everything Terry has said today, he's literally following like the system I've got in place and I've used for myself, but he's built it so that you can use it. Hands to the camera if that's more valuable to you right now. Awesome. Terry, if you've got something that you're willing to offer, man, now is the time.
Right on. Yeah. So what I did is I actually did away with obviously the manuals, books, and audios, as they say, right? So I did create here just this last quarter something that I refer to as the Commercial Estate Masterclass. And what it was is a digital deliverable, which is amazing, that gives folks the opportunity to listen and learn and be involved in the opportunity. And it's a class that I put together on my training platform. So it's embedded into my actual training platform. And then what happens is when you graduate from that training platform, it takes you through to a test. And the test really gauges your strength and weakness. And that's really one of the reasons as well that I did away with the manuals, books, and audios, is because for me, I couldn't gauge someone's level of success or failure. So it was almost like a disservice to myself and to others. So although as much as I did go ahead and agree to that full give back once I was successful to leave no one behind and turn around and help the next person in line, as they say, what I've done now is I just work with people on an intimate level. And I only work with a handful of people at any given time. So for that, if you're interested in jumping on and having a call with me, a one-on-one call, I will offer that masterclass to you. But I would also like to engage with you to see if we're a fit for possible potential partnership. So what I've done with my clients is like the gentleman that I've done that entire portfolio with that I mentioned in Mississippi that's getting ready to be sold to the REIT. He joined, got the masterclass, took a deep dive into it, understood the ins and outs, took the test, and he was ready to be someone that would be an apprentice where I could take them to the next level and show them exactly what it is that I do. I do day trips to the office out here in Malibu. If you guys like the sunny weather and the beach, you don't have to, it's not mandatory, but I have an open door policy. And then what we do is we move it forward and we build a business together. And that business that we build together is not like a guru student style approach. This is an approach where I actually take things to the next level and I dedicate my time. And that's why I work with the quality, not the quantity of individuals. So if that's something that you want, there's no obligation for a quick chat. I typically dial out 15 minutes for it. I'll take like the first 12 people that sign up. And if that's you, I would say go ahead and shoot that email to the preferred email that you guys have for your group there. And then they'll forward those to me. And then I'll go ahead and buzz you from this phone. And it's a 310-709 phone number. And I'll take the time and we'll go ahead and chat. And it's not a sales call. There's nothing for sale on the call. We talk and see if we're a fit. I get to know you. And then if that's a fit for us, then I'll go ahead and open up the masterclass opportunity and drop that to you. But I just want to make sure people are fit for it, because for me to just like hand somebody a book, right, or give somebody something, chances are that they get that point of accomplishment just because they received it, and then they're not taking it serious because they really just received it. But I want to make sure if you receive it, you're going to give me your word that you're going to move it forward. And that's how I dedicate my time and energy, is to someone who actually have dedicated their time and their focus, because focus is really, really important when it comes to this business. Make sense? All right, cool.
It makes a ton of sense, Terry. I'm just going to ask if there's any quick questions anybody wants to ask right now before we sign off. There won't be a lot of them. I'm trying to restrict it. We've gone to the 90 minutes, a little bit over. So if you have any quick questions, but I think the telephone call will, Terry, that's probably something, you'll feel more comfortable where you can give a little bit more detail to your own specific needs. It doesn't hurt to talk to him. He doesn't bite. Like I said, I've known Terry for years. He's out there, go out to Malibu. Malibu is a great place, and see what he does. So again, it's BostonREIA@gmail.com. And we'll forward those requests just in the email. Please put all your contact information in there so I can get that to Terry and he can schedule, 15 minutes with you. Any other questions?
Yeah, remember what I always say, the people who don't ask questions don't get results. Their life is about asking. You've got to get out there, ask some questions. And if you feel like you might be somebody who could succeed at multifamily or commercial, or even if you don't feel like you could, but you would like the opportunity to succeed investing in multifamily and learning from somebody who's actually doing it, I would strongly suggest book the call with Terry. The way you book the call is the email address that Duncan just dropped into the chat. So this email address I just dropped in, it's BostonREIA@gmail.com. and just say, hey, how do I book a call with Terry? My strong suggestion is pull it up on your computer right now while you're still aware. And Val Marie, you're you're driving, so don't pull it up right now, but you have to remember this: BostonREIA@gmail.com, and send the email now. Here's what I'll tell you. There's 32 people on this call. 2 of us, it's me and Terry. That doesn't count. And then Duncan doesn't count. And then Kelly doesn't count. No offense, Duncan or Kelly or Terry. We don't count in this offer. This is only for the 28 people who are thinking, my God, like, what if I'm the one who becomes successful in multifamily? What if I'm one of the 12 that books that call? Here's what I'll tell you. I guarantee you, out of 28 people, not all of you are going to go and send this email. It's because either you don't believe in yourself, you don't believe you're worthy of being successful in real estate. And if that's the case, if you don't send this email right now, I truly question whether you belong in this business at all, because what Terry's offering you is a free, just ask questions. Lewis is already in there. Yeah. I don't question you at all, brother.
Hey, Walt, I want to make a comment. Like, you know, even the 28 people that are left, we had 50 people on the call. And, you know, so I congratulate you for making it this far. So it's not that next, you know, it's not even that hard to take the next step now to take a phone call. You know, half the competition has already weeded themselves out, the wannabes. So, you know, make the effort. 15 minutes. It's not going to kill you. So yeah, that's my point. 28 people weeded themselves out and said no already, and 28 are there saying yes.
Yeah.
That's such a powerful awareness, Duncan. And Terry, I know you've seen this before. You know, this is literally for you, the 28 who are here. Think about it. If you can't send an email, if you can't just send an email to the BostonREIA, BostonREIA@gmail.com, and say, hey, I'd like to book a call with Terry to find out how I can do multifamily. What are the odds you're ever going to invest in multifamily? If you can't send a simple email to find out how to do this stuff, a simple email to learn how to find out the right market for you, a simple email just to figure out like what the right investor strategy is for you in your market, just a quick checkup from the neck up, you're not going to invest in real estate. I'm telling you right now, you don't have what it takes if you can't send an email. Hands to the camera if you grasp, like, I'm not being mean, I'm just being real because I care. I build millionaires. And the way I build millionaires is I connect people with motivation, who believe in themselves, who want more, to mentors who do that. That's the secret. That's the secret sauce. That's all it is. You got to get people who want it bad enough to go. And if you've ever read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, that's all he talks about. The whole entire book, I could sum it up, is if you want something bad enough, you're going to go find somebody who has it and you're going to ask them how they did it. Plain and
believe
simple.
it to achieve it. Yep. See it, believe it to achieve it. 100%.
So thank you, Terry. Let's take a question. Who's got the guts to unmute their phone and just say, hey, like, Terry, what do you think about this? Go ahead, Lewis.
I got a question here. Okay. So, you know, the people that are saying no right now, I could do a joint venture, you know, with my money, and I could help them so they could get in there and do something, you know, together, you know, because that's what we're a family, you know. So if you're going to work together, then the people that don't have the funds right now, well, I told you before, I have my own bank, you know, so I'm willing to help out. You know, you guys want to do, everybody out there, you know, 50, 60, 80, 100 people that don't have the funds right now, don't worry about it. Give me a call. You got my email and we'll talk about it. We'll do a little joint venture and work with Terry there, you know, and see what he has to offer, because I've done a lot of commercial property myself. I picked up a property out there in Sonita, California. And I remember the guy told me, hey, this hotel is going to go down, so I'm willing to shoot it right to you. And I said, okay, how much you want for it? He said, give me $5 million. But the hotel was worth $50 million, you know? And I said, really? That's it? That's all you want? He said, that's all I want. I want to get out of this, you know? And, you know, I tell you, what I did was, instead, I bought it, but then what I did, I held on to it and I turned it into a suite, you know? So we're charging $500 a week for a suite. It has a little room, it has a kitchen, you know, and I just been doing this and this, you know, but I help new people. I've been doing this for 35 years, you know. I don't want to sound too old here, you know, but you know, I have to wear the glasses now because my vision's not that great, But the wonderful thing is that I can still count the money, you know? So I encourage people, count the money. We have it. You can have it too.
Nice.
I got you, Val Marie. The email is BostonREIA@gmail.com. I'm glad you
Got it.
stopped. I'm glad you're safe. Send the email now, and Duncan will make sure that you're connected with Terry. It's a blessing to have somebody like Terry on a call like this. You know, the
Yes.
stuff he dropped, none of the gurus are talking about this. I hear so much bullshit in the marketplace, you know,
Oh,
like
yeah.
you got to get in real estate to wholesale. It's like, dude, that's a job. Like wholesaling is a job.
It's out there.
Flipping is a job, but when you
Mhm.
invest in multifamily real estate, you build true
Yes.
wealth. We're talking legacy wealth. We're talking
Yes.
cash flow, depreciation, amortization. There's so many different facets to real estate. Plus, you're providing clean, safe housing to good families. Like
Mhm.
it's a necessary investment class for us to invest in as like good people with abundance mindset. Hence, if you're a good person, you're going to serve your tenants well. I'm nervous. Okay, all right.
Nice.
Very good.
Thank
If
you,
you're not a
Terry.
good person, also don't send the email. Not interested. Like I know Terry's not interested in working with bad people.
Yeah, I'm not working with
You're
any
not a good
people that aren't
person.
doing good.
Go ahead, Kelly.
Okay.
Which Kelly?
Kelly Duffy.
Well, I am just so overwhelmed. Thank you so much, Terry. I have
Absolutely.
taken so many courses in real estate. I'm a realtor myself. And I've always wanted to invest in real estate, but I was always raising my children, getting them through college. Now I'm alone and I'm ready. I'm just really ready to do this. So I really appreciate your offer. I have a lot of knowledge, but you have thousands more knowledge than I do. So I tried to keep up with what you were talking about. You were a little too fast for me, but I will listen to the recording again. So I just want to say thank you so much for the offer. I'm ready. I got some cash. I'm ready to start investing. So thank you.
Absolutely. Look forward to speaking with you. And that goes for everybody. I mean, so great, recognized opportunity. I mean, we vet. I mean, I'm really in the business, doing the business. This is one of my acquisition guys' offices right here. I mean, you can see the pile of deal flow that he has, and the vetted buyers that are behind me, and the artwork on the walls of properties, you know, that we close. And you know, there's a lot of people out there, like I said, speaking the game, talking the game, but you know, getting out here and actually, you know, doing the business. You know, from multifamily, more artwork on the walls, to my old CBS radio days over here, and properties that we close. We pop them up all throughout. You know, our 2-story office here, Class A building across the street from the beautiful Pacific. But you know, I was just my wife's from Brooklyn, you know, born and raised, and coming back.
Brooklyn, huh?
Yeah, from Brooklyn. Yeah, we just got back from, you know, Williamsburg, and just seeing all the development, everything that's happening like around the nation. And you know, I have property out in quite a bit of property out in Delray Beach, and I was buying right when the market started turning. You know, going and visiting property and seeing how much development is all on Atlantic Ave and different areas, you know, and going out to Miami. And it's this place. There's so much opportunity, and you don't have to think that it's big and scary. And I know I talked pretty quick on this because I wanted to get a lot of information in, but but yeah, you know, that the beautiful thing is on the call, I slow it down. I take the time with you, and we just see if we're fit. If we're fit, great, and you know, we'll talk about it and move it forward. You know, so don't be scared of me just because you know I have experience and I've been doing it. I promise you that it's nothing like a sales call. It's just casual, and if we're fit, we're fit. Again, I went into retirement already at 30. I came out of retirement to build generational wealth, and it's because of this little guy right here. This little guy right here. That's Cash. Of course, I named him Cash. What else would I have named him?
Oh yeah, Cash.
Terry, I love it. You pointed something out that everybody needs to know when they're looking for somebody, when they're looking to get mentored. Mentors are actively in the business doing the deals, so their information is relevant. They're still doing things that make sense. Too many people sign up with coaches remember what they do on a football team. They're sitting on the sidelines. They haven't run and they haven't done the touchdown. They haven't done the plays. They're sitting there saying, this is what we used to do back in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of coaches out there who are coming out trying to teach courses, but it's a mentor that's going to be able to deliver what's actually happening in the market, staying relevant. They're doing deals. Go ahead, Terry. You got to check, don't you?
Yeah. I was just going to show you the date. It says 10-1 on there. And you can see the dollar amount. That's just for one bay in the 12 box. And there's a pile of these. Now, I don't even like to receive these, and just to validate it, like you see, there's my information right there. Like that's my signature. Like I'm the owner of the company, and it's just this is cool to look at because we never see it, right? Who does this, right? But these people need to send them to my PO box because I need to deposit them through that electronic banking, and that deal is going to be sold really quick. And obviously, I'm developing the other 5 acres to duplicate that success, and doing 4 more buildings out there. So if I can duplicate that, like about a $1.7 million build per building, and turn it at almost $4 million on each one, that's not a bad business within the niche.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good. That's good.
Terry, thank you so much, brother. I'm going to message you on Facebook. I'd love to have you on my podcast. Obviously, the 100 Millionaire Summit is 2 weeks away, so I'm a little caught up with, preparation and everything. But afterwards, I run a program with the BostonREIA where we take courses and we kind of just put these like free courses out on Alchemist Nation. I'd love to get you to put something out there and filter anybody who might be interested in commercial multifamily. It's something I don't personally teach anymore. And so I really would love to have somebody like you, like your caliber and what you're doing. I think it fits, it replaces what I was doing. I'm focused more on the tech side of just building the platform and building millionaires. And it takes really great mentors and coaches like yourself to keep the work going, to keep people, because people need that human touch. If they don't have somebody they can call or reach out to, or a team they can reach out to, then they drop the ball and a deal goes sideways and they could have made millions. So what you're doing, man, it's huge.
Yeah, man. And I'd like to also filter you back too as well. I know it's short on this one, but the next run, I'd like to take all my millionaires and throw them your way. So that way you can pop them in your event and we can make a 200 millionaire.
Let's give Terry a big round of applause. He's on a mission to build 100 millionaires, inspired to build 100 millionaires.
You guys are great. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you, Duncan. Thank all of you. I truly do. And all the best to everyone else. And I kind of have this catchphrase, right? I leave everybody with it. It means a lot to me. And I realized this when my son Cash was born. You have one life to live it wealthy.
Yes, that's right.
Let's give Terry one more round of applause for everybody who showed up tonight. Remember that email to reach out to him is BostonREIA@gmail.com. Cheers to your success. We have a choice. Always work with the best. And we have one life to live. Live it wealthy.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right, guys.
Thank you very much, sir.
Awesome.
Bye.
Take care, guys. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.